Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Orion. I got a great show for you here today between the Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes, so let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. The Mother's Day thumb on the left, the best center fielder in the game. It's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. And the Chicago White Sox on the right, second baseman Chase Mydrop. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at third base, Brendan Donovan. Way to have you back in the lineup, Donnie. Batting second, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. And I like the, flip up from Julio and Cal. Obviously, we know Cal has been struggling, so to move him lower in the lineup makes sense. And to have Julio and Naylor move up a spot or two. I like it. Let's go, J-Rod. Batting third, playing first base, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Going from one of the bottom two hitters in baseball to the hottest hitter in baseball since April 19th. I absolutely love it. Let's go Nails. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching today for Seattle, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Hasn't been able to get going in the, 4 or 5 games since he's been back from the injury, but at some point he's got to get off the schneid. And is today the day? I sure hope so. Batting fifth, playing left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting sixth, playing right field, it is Luke Raley. Now we know he had 2 nukes in game number 1, a grand salami and a 3-run blast for a 7 RBI day. We're going to need Luke Raley to come alive here again. Let's go, Luke. Batting seventh, playing shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting eighth, DHing for Seattle, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. And batting ninth, playing second base, the best all-around offense and defensive combo player besides Julio, it is Cole Clutch Young. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 2-3 record, an ERA of 4.30, it is Walter, a.k.a. Logan Gilbert. Now, we know he was, not very good in the first couple starts, but he's starting to come around. And again, hopefully he'll have a good start here today. Let's go, Logan. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the home Chicago White Sox. Leading off for the White Sox in left field, Sam Antonacci. Batting second, playing first base, Munetaka Murakami. Batting third, playing third base, Miguel Vargas. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, shortstop, Colson Montgomery. Batting fifth, playing second base, Chase Mydrop. Batting sixth, playing right field, the former Seattle Mariner, right fielder, Jared Kelenic. Batting seventh, playing center field, Tristan Peters. Batting eighth, DHing today in the 8-hole, Randall Grichuk. And batting ninth, catching today for the Sox, Drew Romo. And on the mound for the White Sox, their ace, 5-1 record, ERA of 1.64, Davis Martin. Now, we know he's got, a very good record, tied for third with 5-1. ERA is below 2, but at least it's a righty, right? So, again, if this ends up being a lower scoring affair, at least we got Donnie in the lineup, we got Luke Raley in the lineup, and we got Dominic Canzone in the lineup. And as we know, when we have those 3 guys in the lineup, more chances than not, we're going to actually compete. When you got Rob Refsnyder, Connor Joe, Garver, it's a huge downgrade, on top of having Luis Castillo on the mound yesterday. So, again, if it was me, no matter if it's a righty or a lefty, I would have Donnie out there every day. I would have Luke Raley out there every day, and I would have Dominic Canzone out there every day. And then again, if they end up switching, from a righty to a lefty, then later in the game, you can throw in Connor Joe, Mitch Garver, or Rob Refsnyder. But I feel like, when you have those guys start the game, and if they end up playing the whole game and you have a bad pitching like with Castillo or possibly a bad closer with Mooney or both, it makes it really tough to be able to get wins. And again, game one was great, winning 12-8. We ended up getting a lot of those bats to come alive. And then, kind of had the worst pitcher on the mound, the worst, hitting lineup, and we only put up a 1, but I'm not surprised. So we ended up losing 6-1 yesterday, but we want to kind of get back to where we were, in game one. And if we can't get to double digits, we at least should be shooting for 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. And if we're able to do that, we should be able to compete. Now, this may be a low-scoring affair and a pitcher's duel. Hopefully, Gilbert will give up 3 runs or less. And again, it could end up being a 2-1, 3-2 kind of game. But hopefully, we can get it done here on Mother's Day. First pitch to Brandon Donovan, pops it up into shallow center field. And that is 1 away. Definitely want Donnie to work the count. Happy Mother's Day 2026. Jerry in the building, what's good? Mike in the building, what's good? Ron in the building. Marine Bean in the building. Sounds like they're going to go with a 6-man rotation for at least maybe a week or 2 until they are smart enough to hopefully realize to put Castillo in the bullpen. Because we're going to get Bryce Miller back here in a few days. Next up is Julio Rodriguez, and I really like this move on sliding Julio into the 2 and Naylor into the 3. Since Cal has been struggling, if we end up getting later in the game, you want to make sure that Donnie, Julio, and Naylor possibly get that 5th at-bat rather than Cal, because he hasn't really been able to get going just yet. Smart move. First pitch in there for a strike to Julio, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. High and inside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. 1-1 pitch, fouls that one off, out of play. Slider 87 miles an hour there by Davis Martin. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. And again, Davis Martin, one of the studs in MLB this year, 5-1 record, ERA of 1.64. It's not going to be easy. But again, we do have a few bats, in this lineup, even going against a really good pitcher. We could still end up getting to 4 or 5 runs. And, if it ends up being lower scoring, there we go. Julio, a nice blast into left field, almost all the way to the wall. And Julio is going for 2, a little bobble there in left field. And again, nice awareness by Julio Rodriguez on, being aggressive, but also making sure that, ball was kind of rolling loose there in left field. And again, you're going to get Sam Antonacci making a lot of plays like he did yesterday. Remember, he had a few, diving grabs that saved at least 3 runs for the White Sox. But here ends up getting a little ahead of himself, and Julio ends up getting a stand-up double. Julio has been absolutely electric. After the first 10 games, after, Naylor, Julio, and Cal struggled. Cal got injured. He hasn't got, really going yet. But Julio and Naylor have really turned the corner. First pitch to Josh Naylor, fouls that one off, dribbles towards the third base foul line. Curveball, 80 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And again, it definitely feels like this is going to be the first year where Julio puts together a full season of good baseball. Now, it might mean that he doesn't hit, 30, 40 home runs, but I think we're okay with that. If he ends up hitting as close to 300 as possible, and even if he ends up getting 25 to 29 home runs, but it makes, a better run for the Mariners game in and game out while he's in, I would rather take that, than him having, a 200 batting average, hitting 40 home runs. Because again, if you end up hitting a bunch of home runs and striking out a lot, that the home runs are great, but is it going to end up leading to wins, game in and game out? And again, for me, I would take a few less home runs and, more singles and doubles and getting more opportunities on a daily basis than, him homering, every 3rd or 4th game and then nothing in between. So I really like this version of Julio Rodriguez that I'm seeing. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss there to Josh Naylor. No balls and 2 strikes from Martin to Naylor. Xavier in the building, what's good? Rebecca in the building, what's good? We actually have a good record. The one thing that's kind of going for us, we're 10-5 in day games. So again, in the past, prior to the Julio, Cal Raleigh, George Kirby era starting in 2022, we weren't really that great in morning and afternoon games, but this year we're pretty good. So again, that's the one thing that we got going for us, considering we're a couple games below 500, but we play good ball in the morning and the afternoon in 2026, which is nice. 1-2 pitch, high and inside. Did that hit him? And Taylor did not go around, and Julio scampers to third off the wild pitch. Good awareness. And this is rare. You usually don't have wild pitches, out of Davis Martin. I mean, this guy has been electric. He's got, tied for the third best record, 5-1. Can you imagine if we had someone with a 5-1 record? I mean, Kirby's close, but again, also a sub-2 ERA. That's insane, especially with the game where it's at in 2026. ERA of 1.64, but again, wild pitch there by Martin, and we'll take it. And now Julio's at third, and I can't think of anything more that I would want on this Mother's Day in 2026 for us to get an early lead on this White Sox team. Even if it ends up being a 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 game, I don't care, as long as we find a way to get the job done and we can win the series, because we have the Astros, our rival, next, right? That's probably the one that we look forward to the most of beating down. We hate them, they hate us. And then we got the Padres. So, but we'll be at home that time around, not on the road where we got swept. But even with that being said, it's not going to be easy against those two franchises, Colt and the Astros, but we know how the Astros play. It's not always easy when we go against them, and we might have had their number, obviously within the last couple years, but you just really never know what to expect from them. Carlos Correa is out, so we won't have to worry about him, but they'll still have Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve, and we know how we feel about them. Pitches low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. 3-2 pitch popped up in left field, out of play. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Martin on the mound, Naylor in the box. We'll be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. 3-2 pitch, hard hit ball. Naylor grinding out this at bat. And again, until Cal gets right, and even if he does get right, I think we should keep Cal, in this 4 spot moving forward. It makes more sense to have Donnie, Julio, and Naylor as the first 3. They've been hitting the best, when they've been healthy. And again, we know Cal has struggled, so there's no point of putting him in one of the top 3 spots. And, Randy has, been pretty much set in that 5 hole. And in the 6 hole, you can move that around between Rayleigh or JP or Dominic Canzone or Cole Young. You can kind of flirt with the idea of, moving guys around in the 6, 7, 8, and 9. But I like the lineup, and hopefully this will be the lineup that they keep, even if Cal gets going. 3-2 pitch from Davis Martin, and there we go. What an excellent at-bat for Josh Naylor. I mean, if this was Naylor at the beginning of the year, he would have struck out ages ago, maybe on pitch 3 or 4, and he takes it all the way to pitch 9, and now we got runners at first and third with 1 out. I love it. And now we have to, have a guy that has been struggling. If you get a home run, great, 3-0 Mariners. But even getting an RBI single and knocking Julio home for a 1-0 lead would be so big for a guy that hasn't got a hit in the last 4 or 5 games. Come on, Cal. Work the count. First pitch, big swing and a miss. Curveball, 80 miles an hour right down the middle. 0-1 count. And if he just ends up making the adjustments like Julio did this year, home run swings half of the time, single, double swings the other half, the game will come to you. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And again, there's a lot of pressure on Cal. He's feeling the weight on his shoulders. And again, even forcing a walk, would be great for him once in a while, instead of just having this pressure that, I got to get a home run every single at bat. You're not going to get 60 home runs this season, and that's okay. If you end up hitting, 25 to 35 home runs, that's fine. You're at 7, you've gotten injured. You were a workhorse for us last year. The WBC didn't, really help you out. It definitely, made things a little bit more difficult for a lot of guys. Just play within your game. 2-1 pitch from Martin. Pops it up and out of play. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour there by Davis Martin, the right-handed ace with a 5-1 record and a sub-2 ERA. So it could end up being, somewhat lower scoring. But look, we already got runners at first and third, had a wild pitch from him early. And again, even though a guy's got a great record, thankfully he's a righty, And again, we can still get 5 runs or more on this pitcher or with this pitcher and their bullpen. I feel very confident about winning the series here today against the White Sox. Astros are up next, and then the Padres. 2-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 looking. Down goes Cal Raleigh. And Cal and his struggles continue here. But again, I still believe he can get at least 1 hit today. Something's got to give. You can't just go 0 for 4 for, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row. He's too good of a player. Eventually, he'll figure it out. Next up in the 5-hole, let's see if Randy Arozarena can bring some electricity and get us an RBI or a home run here. First pitch to Randy, big swing and a miss with the slider, 86 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Happy Mother's Day 2026 to everyone in the room. Lauren in the building, what's good? Dark Passenger in the building, what's good? 0-1 pitch, hit up the middle, here we go! And Randy does what we were hoping Cal would do, bring Julio home. And again, a few little mental errors by the White Sox. Maybe they're not really awake yet. But again, Randy with a stand-up double, and it just like that, 1-0 Mariners. That's what I'm talking about. Happy Mother's Day 2026. And again, if we can't get it from Cal, more than likely someone after him will get the job done. And Randy on the 0-1 pitch gets a hit right up the middle. Julio comes home. 1-0 Mariners. I like it. Next up, Luke Raley. Last time we saw Luke was game 1, where he had a grand salami and a 3-run blast for a 7 RBI game. Let's see if Luke Raley can bring that magic here this morning. Runners at second and third with 2 outs, top of the first, 1-0 Mariners. I love it. And it shows you, if we go against right-handed pitching, no matter if the record is good or bad, having those 3 extra guys in the lineup, Donnie, on top of Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone, we can win. But when you don't have those 3 guys in and you have Mitch Garver, Connor Joe, and Rob Refsnyder, it's a huge downgrade, on top of everyone else that we have in the lineup. We need those guys to be playing every day, and that's just the bottom line. If you want to be good, you got to have your best players play. I know you want to go righty, lefty, lefty, righty, and, have those type of matchups, but it's like, we haven't really proven that we can win that often, when you have those others that are in the backups. And obviously we know with Luis Castillo on the mound, we haven't been able to produce more than 2 runs, only 3 times out of the 8 starts. So, got to get a, different type of, mindset moving forward. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Davis Martin, the ace, to Luke Raley. Let's see if Luke can get a nuke or an RBI. Let's go, Luke. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And Davis Martin fools him. We leave 2 stranded, but that's okay. We ended up getting that big RBI early. 1-0 Mariners. Now, this could have been an opportunity if Luke would have been able to get another hit there, that we could have went up 2-0, 3-0. That would have been awesome. But again, we guess we have to crawl before we walk, and I'm still happy with an early 1-0 lead after what happened yesterday. Let's go to the bottom of the first inning and see who's up next here on Mother's Day 2026. Next up for the White Sox, leadoff hitter, left fielder, Sam Antonacci. Batting second, first baseman, Munetaka Murakami. And batting third baseman, Miguel Vargas. And on the mound for the Mariners, started off slow, but is gaining a little bit of ground. 2-3 record, ERA of 4.30, Logan Gilbert. And remember, he started off the season like 0-2. So to be 2-3 now, he's starting to kind of come around. Much better than Luis Castillo. And again, if Bryce Miller, regardless if he does good or bad, within the first, few starts, having a 6-man rotation really doesn't make sense when we have injuries to Brash and Spire. Having Castillo pitch a half inning instead of trying to go for 6, and giving up 4 to 8 runs almost every single time. We can't win when he's a starter, but if you put Castillo in the pen, that definitely will give us, at least another person that could potentially try to help us. Now, he could also have meltdowns in the pen as well, but I would rather have a meltdown in a half inning out of Castillo rather than a meltdown by Castillo for 6 innings. So hopefully they understand that as well. 1-0 Seattle. Let's go, baby. Good start here early on Mother's Day 2026. 89 subs away from 24,100. All right, we're at 22 likes, 88 to 100, and hopefully this is the good version of Walter here today. First pitch in there for a strike to Sam Antonacci. 0-1 count. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour there by Gilbert. 0-1 pitch, hard hit ball into left field and foul. Slider, 84 miles an hour, no balls and 2 strikes to Sam Antonacci. Dane in the building, what's good? O2 pitch, fouled off, out of play. I don't know if Castillo's going to get any better. I mean, we've assumed that Mooney will get better, but I don't have any really faith in him either. When you both have ERAs above 6, as a starter and a closer, I still think Mooney, at some point will figure it out. But if not, we have Jose Ferrer and Matt Brash that could fill in the role. But I don't think Castillo is going to turn it around this year. It doesn't feel like, he's got the right stuff, and I mean, how many games does he have to lose, and where does his ERA have to be before they give up? Does he have to be 0-8 with an ERA of 8 to 10, and then they realize, well, maybe with Bryce Miller, here now, and Cade Anderson waiting, that maybe this is the time to transition him into the pen, because, if you keep him as a starter, we're not going to ever win any games with him on the mound, especially if we have a righty lineup and we go against a lefty pitcher, and, he's the guy. So, I mean, it's not like we're, at a luxury right now where we're 5 or 10 games above a 500 where we can just take a random L here and there. We need to try to be able to get as many as we can. So, I mean, we'll see, but again, that's really the only guy I don't have any faith with in the lineup, on this team is Luis Castillo. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and a nice punch out there on Sam Antonacci. I like it. There we go. The good version of Logan Gilbert. Way to bring that electricity early, Logan. Down goes Sam Antonacci, making a few little miscues in the outfield early in this game, which we'll take, and nothing so far for Sam. Next up, with 15 home runs, leading the MLB with Aaron Judge, Munetaka Murakami. Ended up having a home run in game 1, and we blanked him yesterday. And again, they have the 2, 3, and the 4 hitters that we have to be very concerned about: Murakami, Vargas, and Colson Montgomery. If we can limit the damage to those 3 hitters, we should be pretty good. 0-1 pitch. In there for a strike on the corner. No balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Murakami. And this is a good, focused version of Logan Gilbert. And again, we are 10-5 in morning, afternoon games. So I like our chances, in this particular game, regardless on whoever the pitcher is. If we continue to play this way in the morning and the afternoon, again, it doesn't matter if it ends up being a righty. But again, when we go against lefties, regardless if they're good or bad, that's where we struggle. And again, teams have been exploiting the Mariners with left-handed pitching and a lot of left-handed guys in the pen, regardless if they're good or bad, knowing that we typically can't hit those guys. 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. This is the Logan that I love, baby. There we go. Way to bring the electricity. Down goes Antonacci. Down goes Murakami. And now we have Miguel Vargas. Let's see if he can go for the trifecta. Nice job here by Logan Gilbert. And this is what we need. I mean, we can't have only 3 good pitchers and then 2 guys that we're worried about in Gilbert and Castillo. And I feel Gilbert will get back to the, Wu, Hancock, Kirby kind of level sooner than later. And he's already starting to get a little bit better, even though he's still somewhat shaky, but much better than Castillo. So, and then we do have Bryce Miller just right around the corner, and hopefully Cade Anderson in a few months as well. 0-1 pitch to Vargas, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the first inning. 1-0 Mariners with a Randy Arozarena RBI single right up the middle. Julio scoring from third. 1-0 Mariners, and we have the Astros and the Padres next. So we have to make sure we win this game if we can. 1-1 pitch, hard hit ball, deep left field, and gone. Oh, it goes off the wall. Thank God. I thought that for sure was gone. Tag him. Oh. And he scampers into second base safe. And Vargas had 2 home runs yesterday. And I thought for sure that was leaving the yard there, but it got the top of the wall. And again, the throw really wasn't the greatest. coming in. And if it was a little bit more on point, we might have been able to tag Vargas there. But based on the camera angle on the broadcast, I thought, it's gone for sure. But luckily, it ends up hitting the wall. And, decent throw from Randy, much better than just a lob that we usually see. Exit velo 108.4. And let's keep him at second base and stranded, hopefully. And again, like I said, you got to be very careful with Vargas. He's really starting to heat it up lately. First pitch to Colson Montgomery, who homered as well. Foul ball, slider, 87 miles an hour, down the middle, 0-1 count. But those will be the three guys we have to definitely keep an eye on when they talk about Murakami, Miguel Vargas, Colson Montgomery. Not to say that they can't get home runs from anyone else in the lineup, but those are usually the top three guys game in and game out. 0-1 pitch, high and inside, cutter 90 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike to Colson Montgomery. And I don't mind, if they get a few hits here and there in the game, just as long as they're not getting RBIs and home runs. We have to win this game and win the series and then beat up on our, heated rival, the Houston Astros. And then, hopefully after we beat the Astros up and we're above 500, then we'll play the Padres, and we know how tough they are. But if we're at home, it's going to be much better than being on the road when we got swept. There's certain teams that are going to be very difficult to win on the road, like the Braves or the Padres or the Dodgers. Just for example, if we have to go to their building, a little bit easier at home, even though it will be a test. Big swing and a miss, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Montgomery. And I like what I've seen so far from Logan. He's not hitting anybody. He's not walking anybody. He's painting the strike zone all over, on the corners and whatnot. So far, so good. And hopefully we'll get Montgomery with a pop-up, ground out, or punch out. And we can still have this 1-0 lead. Let's go, Logan. Pitches low and at the knees. Gets away from Cal just momentarily. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Montgomery. Yeah, fireworks got launched, and usually I can tell by, camera angle where they're pointing the camera at, but they got a little bit premature and the wind died off, obviously out there in left field, thank God. Because again, if, it was the same type of, base knock that we saw out of Vargas yesterday, remember, he hit 2 homers yesterday, so I'm really happy that that one ended up just hitting the wall. 3-2 pitch. And that is strike 3 looking. I like this version of Logan Gilbert, especially after what we saw with Luis Castillo. This is refreshing. Nice job there by Logan. And that is out number 3. And again, we pride ourselves as being, more than likely for quite a few years now, since 2022, we have pitchers. We pride ourselves on being good at pitching, whether it be in the starters or the bullpen. So when we end up having issues, with pitching, which we take a lot of pride in, it definitely hurts us, and we know the bats are much better on this team than they were even a few years ago. And some guys are going to be hot, like Julio and Naylor, and other guys are going to be struggling mightily, like Cal Raleigh, who, definitely put a lot of extra time in. And it's kind of surprising he didn't get hurt last year, but again, it's only natural for him to have a slump, but hopefully he'll be able to get out of it. 50th anniversary for the Seattle Mariners, 40 plus years on the radio. Riz is retiring, and the season is dedicated to Rick Riz and in baseball heaven, Dave Niehaus. End of the first inning, 1-0 Mariners on this Mother's Day 2026. Woke up early, went for a long walk with the pup, and hopefully we'll go on a victory walk in the afternoon after this one is over. 89 subs to go to 24,100. Shout out to the viewership that we've been able to get all across the globe, as well as our female viewership skyrocketing here on the channel as well. Appreciate that. People all over in Asia and Europe and South America and Mexico and Canada. It's just a beautiful thing. Shout out to everyone watching all over the globe. We're at 32 likes. 68 to 100. All right, Davis Martin, 5-1 record, ERA of 1.64. We're not afraid. We'll take any righty over any lefty all day and all night. Next up for the Mariners, in the 7-hole, J.P. Crawford. On deck, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone, and batting third, one of my favorite players on the team, Cole Clutch Young. Let's go. First pitch, high and inside to J.P. Crawford, 1-0 count. And, as much damage as we can give to Davis Martin, if we can get to, 3-4 runs on him within the first 6 innings, that would definitely be great, because knowing what their bullpen options could be today, they might be a little limited. So got to find a way to win this game in any means necessary. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes to J.P. Crawford. 2-0 pitch, fouled off into left field, out of play. 10-game on-base streak snapped last night for J.P. Crawford, but hopefully he'll be able to get on a new streak here on Mother's Day 2026. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 2-1 pitch, high and away, cutter 89 miles an hour, 3 balls and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. Take the walk, J.P., if it's there. 3-1 pitch, pops it up and into left field, out of play. Count now is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the second inning, 1-0 Mariners with a Randy Arozarena RBI single up the middle, scoring Julio from third. And luckily we had a wild pitch to be able to get Julio to third base. And anytime that you can take advantage early in a game, usually success comes much after. Big swing and a miss. Down goes J.P. Crawford, and that is 1 away. Nice punch out there for Davis Martin. But hopefully we can limit how many times we strike out against the ace that has a 5-1 record and ERA of 1.64. This is the best record and the best ERA that we've faced. But again, as long as he's not a lefty, we don't care. We're going to find ways to get it done with better players in the lineup like Donnie, Luke Raley, and Dominic Canzone. Let's see if the Italian stallion can get something going here. Here is Dominic Canzone. First pitch, right to Dom, down the middle, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch from Martin. Wild pitch. Goes behind the catcher all the way to the backstop. Would have been nice if JP was on board. He would have been able to easily make it from first to second. But Martin looking a little shaky, here in the morning / early afternoon there in Chicago. But again, Mariners, great record, 10-5 coming in morning afternoon games. So I like our chances, especially with a righty on the lineup. 1-1 pitch, high and away. Curveball, 80 miles an hour, about 5 feet off the plate. And again, Davis Martin definitely looking shaky here early, and I like it. 2 balls and 1 strike to Dominic Canzone. 2-1 pitch, in there for a strike. Fooled Dominic Canzone. A lot of movement on that curveball. Started off going wide right and flashed back inside left at the last minute. Nasty pitch there by Davis Martin. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. 2-2 pitch, a little slow dribbler towards first base. Toe tap on the bag, and that is 2 away. Got to be able to get those past the infield at some point. Down goes Dom. And next up in the 9-hole, one of my favorite players on the team, if not my favorite player at the moment, second baseman in the 9-hole, Cole Clutch Young. Let's bring the electricity, Cole. And again, there's going to be games, Cole obviously only in his second year, as a starter, started kind of, towards the end of the year. And again, great defender, the best defender on the team, in my opinion. Normally Julio's pretty damn good as well, but has had a few hiccups. And again, there are going to be games where Cole goes 0 for 4 or even 0 for 8, but usually after going in a 2-game slump, he usually turns it around. And, we've definitely seen Cole with some magic this year and early moments in these first, 40, 41 games. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cole Young. It seems like every game he ends up making an amazing defensive web gem that maybe no one else on the team could even make, And again, we've seen JP a little shaky, in the last couple weeks on defense. Same thing with Julio, mistiming a few baseballs. And, again, normally those guys are very, very good. But again, everyone is human. But at least we have Cole Young making up, for some of those things. And I think Naylor has been pretty damn good at first base as well. 1-2 pitch, little dribbler towards first, flip back to the pitcher, Davis Martin, and we can't get that one past the infield. Down goes Cole Young, and that is out number 3. All right, let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see who's next up here for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, in the 5-hole, second baseman Chase Meindroff. Batting second in right field, the former Mariner and Brave Jared Kelenic. And batting third in the 7-hole, center fielder Tristan Peters. And these were the uniforms that they wore, obviously, on Friday, the Chicago Bull alternate City Connect kind of throwback look. And again, it's different. But again, we found a way to get the job done against them in that game. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. $89 subs to go to 24,100. Still looking for our first dono on our dono train here on Mother's Day 2026. And let's see where we're at on the likes here early in the matchup. We're at 39. We're making some good ground already. 61 to 100. But it's cool to be able to see a team that normally was one of the worst teams in baseball have a new identity, and not only is Munetaka Murakami, like a Hideki Matsui type of home run hitter, but better, but it's made Vargas and Colson Montgomery and Sam Antonacci that much better surrounding him in the lineup. And, it has a different type of vibe. They play like, that they're going to compete, every game. And that's good for them, considering how bad they've been the last few years. I always like being able to see good stories like that from, bottom feeders that get a few guys that kind of change the franchise outlook. And Murakami definitely has done that. First pitch from Gilbert to Chase Meindroff. Takes a strike looking down the middle, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gilbert to Meindroff. And again, as you look at the records there, we got the Rays now eclipsing the Yankees. They are the only 2 really good teams in the American League, and everyone else is at 500, a game or 2 above or a game or 2 below. So again, 2 teams out of 15 that are really, only good. There's plenty of time for the Mariners to be that 3rd team. Even with the record that we have. And again, a lot of the Vegas experts and the betting, experts and the baseball pundits agree as well. Even though the record hasn't really gone for us so far, they still think that the Mariners are the biggest threat to the Yankees. And I agree. We don't know how long the Rays are going to sustain that record. They're having a great start. Will they have that in the second half? We don't know. But there's a lot of wiggle room for a lot of the teams other than the Yankees and the Rays, and that's good for us. With all the injuries and kind of poor play that we've had, we're still going to be in the mix. There's no doubt about that. And then on the flip side, in the National League, you got typically 8 teams out of 15 that have an above 500 record, including every team in the National League Central. So, you got the Dodgers and the Padres and the Braves and everyone in the Central. So pretty wild. Big swing and a miss there. And down goes Chase Meindroff. I like that. On pitch number 6, big swing and a miss on that slider. And Logan Gilbert is looking very good here today. I like it. And not only do I like it, Rick Riz, he loves it. And that is 1 away. Down goes Chase Meindroff. Next up is Jared Kelenic. There was definitely a lot of promise for your Kelenic and Julio, but again, it's all about maturity. And again, as soon as he, hit the cooler and broke his foot, I already knew that was the beginning of the end for him. And again, he's been going up and down with the Mariners, up and down with the Braves, up and down now with the White Sox. Just got called up for this series. And, hopefully for Kelenic's sake, he'll be able to stay on this team and, become a better player. Obviously probably will never live up to the hype, from a few years back. But, as long as you can be in the league, rather than just being in the farm for a majority of the year or this, or his career for that matter, would be good for him, especially for his mental health. And, definitely has been a very tumultuous journey for Jared Kelenic. But again, some guys mature a little bit faster than others, and you definitely can't be a hothead playing baseball. 1-1 pitch. Popped up by Kelenic. And shallow center field, Julio is there. No fly zone. And that is 2 away. Down goes Jared Kelenic. But at least Jared Kelenic isn't Trevor Bauer. If you end up being a hothead and a liar, you'll never come back to the league, and you're never going to see Bauer back in the league ever again. Down goes Jared, and that is 1 away. Next up in the 7-hole, center fielder Tristan Peters, and then on deck, Randall Grichuk. First pitch from Gilbert to Peters, fouls that one back. Behind the plate, slider 85 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Trident's up. Let's go M's. But there's going to be other teams that will end up, getting above 500. That could be a threat. Who those teams will be. We don't really know yet. You got the Yankees and you got the Rays, but there's always a chance that the Mariners could be there. The Athletics, could potentially do something. And there'll be a few other teams. Somebody in the Central, will definitely get above 500 at some point or another and start to break away from the pack. And we'll see who that ends up being. So whether that be the Guardians or, the Twins or the Tigers, we'll see. Even with Scooball out, we'll see how it all kind of progresses. 2-1 pitch. Or it could end up being a team like the Rangers, Astros, or Angels. We don't really know yet. It's still, we're about a quarter of the way, through the season, and we play 162 games. We're on game, 41, and it hasn't really been great for a lot of the teams in the American League. But again, it's not like we have a team like the Yankees or the Rays in our division. So, we're usually, hovering about a game or two, behind first place. And that's pretty damn good considering all the bullshit that we've gone through so far early in the year with injuries and poor play. So pitch fouled off high and away. And once they are smart enough to transition Castillo in the pen, and then we have Bryce Miller and potentially Cade Anderson at some point, and we bring up Colt Emerson, once we start getting, all our guys back, Brash and Spire and Robles and Bryce Miller calling up, Colt Emerson and Cade Anderson, and Ryan Sloan is doing good as well. It's like, eventually once we get more of a full, team, and then we can kind of weed out some of the weak links, and it should get much, much better, not only as we get to the All-Star break, but obviously after the All-Star break is where we really shine as a ball club. 2-2 pitch from Gilbert to Peters, crushes it towards first base and foul. But vibes are good, on this Mother's Day. Getting off to an early 1-0 lead. Now, if Luke Raley would able to come up with a big hit, RBI or home run, we could have potentially been up 2-0 or 3-0. But I still think that there's a good chance for that to happen in these next few innings, even against a really damn good pitcher in Davis Martin. And it shows the Mariners are great in day games, and we're great, against right-handed pitching, regardless of record or ERA, more times than not. 2-2 pitch. Low and at the knees, splitter 82 miles an hour, missing by a few inches. Count now is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Tristan Peters. Three-two pitch. And that is strike 3 on the corner. That was beautiful. Where has this version of Logan Gilbert been? The first 2 games, that he started off in the year was not good. And then, none of his starts have really been electric per se. But again, he's getting better, game in and game out. Started off 0-2, now is 2-3. So again, he's, 2-1 after starting 0-2. And again, if we can get his ERA to, the 3s, and then eventually maybe high 2s, that's where we want him to be. And right now he's at 4.30 after the first 2 bad starts of the year. And if we can continue to bring that ERA down from 4.30 to 4, and then in the mid 3s, and then eventually in the low 3s, high 2s, that's exactly kind of where we want him. And then obviously if he can get into the mid 2s, that would be, best case scenario, I think, for Logan. So, all right, let's go to the top of the 3rd inning, and let's see if we can add on a little bit more. But Logan Gilbert, I'm impressed, man. And again, morning, afternoon games were good. 2 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks. He's been in a couple of full counts, but hasn't walked anyone, which is impressive. And look at this, 5 Ks. 5, count them, 5 for Logan Gilbert within the first 2 innings. That is electric. 38 pitches, 28 strikes, 5 strikeouts, and he's pacing for 10 to 12. Let's fucking go. Especially when we're going against a guy on the other side that gets talked about a hell of a lot more than Logan Gilbert. Davis Martin, 5-1, ERA of 1.64, but he only has 3 Ks right now and a few wild pitches, and we'll take it. Try to dance up. Let's go M's. Next up for the Mariners, 0-for-1 third baseman Brendan Donovan. Work the count, and let's see if we can get a single, double, or home run. Batting second, one of the hottest hitters on the Mariners and in baseball in the last 20 games, 1-for-1 with a run, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. He's always flirting around 300 to 370 within the last 20 games. And again, it's been electric to be able to see this new version of Julio. Took him 5 years to be a patient hitter in the first half of the year, but he finally has got it after starting slow in the first 10 games with his buddy Josh Naylor and Cal Raleigh. Let's go, baby. First pitch is high and away to Brendan Donovan, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, pops it up, and goes into foul territory, and luckily goes into the dugout. We don't want Donnie to keep getting out, on the first 2 pitches. And again, Donnie, prior to the injury to the hip and the groin, was pretty damn patient. You'd see him get to pitch 5 to pitch 10, somewhere in there, and kind of work the pitcher, get the pitch count up, and then end up having that devastating blow for a single, double, or home run. And again, he'll get hits in the first 2 pitches as well, but normally a little bit better as he works the count. 1-1 pitch, and that ends up going towards deep right field and foul. But again, obviously, Donnie just coming back from the injury as well. But again, I think we have more confidence in Donnie getting going. He's already gotten a hit, and Cal Raleigh is definitely, he's in the doghouse right now, and again, he's going to have to change a lot of things, to be able to get things going. Hit right up the middle towards second base, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Down goes Donnie. Now, we usually do pretty good against elite pitching, but it also depends on who's on the other side, Next up is Julio Rodriguez, and Davis Martin almost got a hand on that ball there from Brendan Donovan. Let's go, Julio. First pitch, high and away, in there for a strike. And again, we don't necessarily need Julio to hit 40 or 50 home runs, to be successful. If he ends up hitting 20 to 29, but, he has a close to 300 average, and he's getting a lot more RBIs, and he's getting hits every game rather than, hitting 40 home runs, but then, hitting a home run every third or fourth game and, getting 40, but then striking out and going 0-for-4 on all the other games in between. Like, this version of Julio, I think, is something that we really appreciate. Look at the doubles, triples, and home run numbers there. No triples yet, but he'll get probably 1 or 2 before the season is up. But he's got 8 doubles, 6 home runs, and he started off really bad in the first 10 games with Naylor and Cal. But Naylor and Julio have figured it out. Cal had that injury and hasn't really figured it out just yet, so to speak. Pitch is high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Davis Martin to Julio Rodriguez. 1-2 pitch from Martin. Bad swing there by Julio. Low and away. Martin fools him. And that might have been one of the worst swings that I've seen out of Julio all year. And again, sometimes when you get a good pitcher, they're going to test you low and away. And that's where Julio was kind of the worst in his game within the first 4 years. Low and away and chasing and kind of getting off balance with the swing. And again, he doesn't do it that often this year, thankfully, but does get caught there, and that is 2 away. Next up is Josh Naylor. Let's go, Josh. First pitch to Naylor, a laser towards first base and foul. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the third inning, 1-0 Seattle with an RBI single by Randy Arozarena, scoring Julio early in the matchup. And that's where we sit right now. But I would like to add on a little more. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. Now, patience is the key, to be a good hitter in baseball. Naylor crushes it into right field. And There we go. Bounces up into the third row for a ground rule double. And Naylor continues to be hot. And it's crazy. I don't think I've seen a player being, second worst in hitting in baseball. And then since April 19th has been the best hitter in baseball, and it's just crazy to see the transition. And it's not like Naylor is doing the high extended leg kick on every at bat. He definitely is doing, a few of these here and there, but he definitely is getting into the rhythm. He's got the confidence and the swagger and the aura, and you can feel it when he's in the box. Nice job there. Next up is Cal Raleigh. First pitch is fouled off, low and at the knees, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, hard hit ball there by Cal towards first base and foul. No balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. But right now, Julio and Naylor are the 2 hottest hitters on the team, and we just need that to, feed off to a few others. Naylor is trying to steal. Big swing and a miss, and Naylor ends up getting the third, but Cal ends up striking out again and maybe lost a little focus as he saw Naylor running, and that is out number 3. Let's go to the bottom of the third inning and see who's next up for the Mariners. $89 subs away from 24,100. See how close we are to the 100 likes here on the Mother's Day 2026. All right, we're at 42. 58 to go. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Cal is still injured, slightly. He's still kind of sore and timing is off. And baseball is mental as well, right? I mean, think about it. If you were a professional player, you go 0-4, and then you go 0-8, and then you go 0-12, and then you go 0-16, and then you go 0-20, and then 0-24. It starts to get in your head, right? Whether you're DHing or whether you're catching. And, especially for a guy like Cal who, ended up hitting 60 home runs last season and was the best catcher in the game. There's a lot of pressure on him, and he just needs to be able to, relax, so to speak. Easier said than done. But, I definitely feel it's mental as well as maybe a lingering injury to that right side being sore. And, hopefully he'll be able to battle, out of it, because it just seems like 90% of his swings are home run swings, but the timing is not really there. Yeah, there are some that he is getting a hold of and fouling off, but, again, hopefully he'll be able to get right sooner than later. But he definitely is not looking that great here in the last 4 or 5 games since the injury. Next up for the White Sox, in the 8-hole, DHing Randall Grichuk. Batting second in the 9-hole, catcher Drew Romo, no relation to Tony. And batting third, 0-for-1 with a K, center fielder and left fielder Sam Antonacci. I got Riz there in the booth. I love it. What's up, Riz? Riz, Angie, and Goldie in the booth. I love it. Yeah, and obviously the WBC has affected Cal probably the most. And if you go through all the players and pitchers that participated in the WBC, more than likely, 90% of those guys or more have had a terrible, first half, of the season. And some guys have pulled out of it, like Naylor and Julio, who participated in the WBC. But, for Cal, obviously not being the catcher every game and splitting time with Will Smith. And again, he just wasn't really able to do a whole lot there in the WBC. And it obviously has carried over to the beginning of the season, as well as in spring training and the minimal time that he got with teammates there as well. One-two pitch incoming here from Gilbert to Grichuk. It is low and away. So we started off with a four-seam fastball low and at the knees, and then we had a strike looking high and inside with a 1-1 count. Big swing and a miss high and away there from Grichuk. And now we have that pitch low and away with a curve, 78 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Randall Grichuk. 2-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. I like this version of Logan Gilbert, baby. And that's 6 Ks for Logan Gilbert. Let's go. Way to bring the electricity, Logan Gilbert. And again, after having to watch Luis Castillo pitch and all those AAA, individuals, as well as bringing Jose in from the Braves and having a meltdown yesterday, it's just refreshing to actually have good pitching again. Nice job there by Logan, and that is 1 away, 6 Ks for Logan Gilbert already. Next up in the 9-hole, catcher Drew Romo, no relation to Tony. And I looked it up to make sure that they weren't cousins or something of that nature. Romo's not that common of a last name. First pitch is low and away with the changeup, 84 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Yeah, and again, if you actually go to a game and hear when Cal does connect on a ball, especially at T-Mobile, it sounds different. It sounded like, when Aaron Judge has hit a home run, which I've seen in person as well, or like a Shohei Ohtani, but again, this year, a completely different version of Cal, and again, the injuries, and, probably got a little overworked last season. Didn't have a major injury and, kind of put his body to the limits, and it definitely has carried over to this year with, some injuries and some poor play and poor timing. 2-1 pitch, high and away. But as long as he's not, giving up a lot of, loose baseballs that, get kind of out of, his range and then go to the backstop, and hopefully he'll be able to, throw a few guys out from time to time, but, hopefully he'll end up getting going. Baseball is a long season, especially once the weather warms up and we get past the All-Star break. But definitely disappointed in where he's at right now. But again, not everyone can be like Julio and Naylor at the moment, right? There's going to be peaks and valleys and ups and downs. And, especially if you have injuries, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for guys to recover from. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Drew Romo. Smoke him, Logan. 3-2 pitch to Romo. And just got a little piece and fouls it off towards third base. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Logan Gilbert to Drew Romo. Three-two pitch. And that looked pretty close. Are we going to get a challenge? Challenge by Cal. And it looked close, like it got maybe the corner of the strike zone. Let's see if he gets a piece. Yes, he did. Great challenge there by Cal Raleigh. He may not be able to hit for us lately, but at least he can get a challenge, and that turns in from a walk to a strikeout. Big. And that's why I love the ABS. There we go. Logan Gilbert wheeling and dealing. I believe that's 7 Ks now for Logan Gilbert. And this is the version of Logan Gilbert that we've all been wanting. We've all been praying for, and again, they probably should have started Wu as the season opener, but, Logan Gilbert started off terrible in his first 2 starts, but much better in the last few. Hasn't really been electric, but this might be the first electric game that he has all year. So far, so good, especially against this White Sox team. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. And if he keeps at this pace, this is definitely going to be his highest K game of the year, no doubt. It might already be. I mean, we know Logan has the ability to get 10 to 14 Ks when he's rolling, but again, it's been pretty tough for a lot of pitchers, not just on the Mariners, but in general, to get to 10 Ks nowadays. It used to be pretty common, especially for Mariner pitchers, for almost all the starters to get to 10 pretty often, even though the hitting might have been terrible with a bunch of, 15 to 20 strikeouts. Little dribbler towards first, toe tap on the bag by Naylor, and that is out number 3. And so far, we got a one-hitter for Logan Gilbert. And again, this is the type of Logan Gilbert effort that we all love and expect. 7 Ks, especially when we got a guy like Luis Castillo and Andres Munoz that have ERAs above 6 that we just don't trust. And like I said, it's just like in friendships and life, right? Trust is earned, not just given. Just because you were good last year doesn't mean that you're going to be good this year. Cal's struggling right now, but hopefully he turns it around. Mooney and Castillo have looked terrible, and hopefully they'll turn it around. And I still have faith in Cal and Mooney, but I don't got a whole lot of faith for Castillo as a starter. But as a pen player, I think he could actually be okay. He'll still have a meltdown, but again, if he pitches a half inning rather than potentially trying to pitch 6, he might actually help us while Brash and Spire are still injured. And even when they come back, he could help us by having another guy that might be, somewhat reliable, from time to time. So end of the third inning, 1-0 Mariners. And I'm really excited to see Bryce Miller back out there. And again, they're going to run a 6-man rotation for a week or two. This is based off the Mariners. And again, I don't know how long that'll be able to sustain, especially if Castillo keeps losing every start. Eventually if he goes 0-8 or 0-10 with an ERA of 6-10, at some point you're going to have to be like, well, we either bench you, we cut you, or put you in the bullpen. And I think putting him in the bullpen would be the right move. And he definitely is overpaid. He's one of the higher paid guys. And, maybe that has something to do with it, trying to keep him in there as long as possible because of the money. But at some point, you just got to cut your losses if we're going to be losing almost every start that he pitches. Facts. Next up, for the Mariners in the top of the fourth, 1-for-1 with an RBI, one of the most consistent hitters on the Mariners this season, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Let's go, Randy. Batting second, 0-for-1 with a K, right fielder Luke Raley. Had a grand slam and a 3-run blast in game one. Let's get back to that, Luke Raley. And batting third, 0-for-1 with a K, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. Happy Mother's Day 2026. First pitch there for Davis Martin in there for a strike right down the middle. 5-1 record with an ERA of 1.64. This could end up being, a 3-2, 2-1, 4-3 kind of game. But as long as we win, that's all that matters. Pitch fouled off there by Randy. Slider low and away. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the fourth inning, 1-0 Mariners. But even though it's 1-0, it kind of feels like we're up, 2-0 or 3-0 based on how good Logan has pitched. And we had the one inning where we had Luke Raley with runners at second and third, and he struck out. But, if we end up having that situation again with a runner at second and third or first and third, I feel that we'll probably end up getting a home run or RBI, and we can open this game up. Daniel in the building, what's good? Oh, pitch is high and inside, almost hits Randy in the head. And Randy gets hit by the pitch. And that's not intentional by Davis Martin, nowhere near being a dirty pitcher. And we're going to have the trainer come out there and look. And again, even when you have a guy that's got a great record and a great ERA, that doesn't mean he can't have a meltdown. And he gets hit right there on the elbow. And that's why you wear that elbow pad, right? You got to make sure you duck your head out of the way, and that way you don't get hit in the jaw. And again, you got to put your arms up to protect your face. And a lot of the Mariner players do wear those elbow pads because of that reason right there. And Randy to first. And, Randy has taken over being the guy that gets hit the most. Obviously Ty France used to be that guy. And let's see if Luke Raley can bring him home. Let's go, Luke. First pitch to Luke Raley, big swing and a miss, gets fooled with a curveball, 80 miles an hour, low and away. Probably was thinking that was going to be a fastball with a little bit more velocity or a slider. 0-1 count. Martin on the mound, Raley in the box, Randy at first getting hit on the elbow moments ago. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Luke Raley. And for a guy that's 5-1 record and an ERA below 2, he's not looked that great. I mean, yeah, it's only 1-0 right now, but I mean, his pitches are going all over the strike zone, and that's good for us. I wouldn't mind a few more guys getting hit by pitches as long as they don't get injured or if they get walked. Help us out any way we can. 1-1 pitch popped up in foul territory, and Vargas almost runs into Sam Antonacci, and he drops it. Wow, we're getting lucky because, again, a lot of these routine plays that the White Sox normally make, and the Mariners have been in the situation as well where we've had a couple guys almost run into each other. And we obviously saw Kelenic yesterday with Murakami almost colliding into each other. And then now you have Sam Antonacci and Vargas. And again, when you see that player in the corner of your eye and you're trying to catch the ball, you definitely are worried about colliding and, having a collision going head to head. And getting a concussion. And luckily, Vargas drops it, and we get one more opportunity here from our guy, Luke Raley. Get a nuke. Let's go, Luke. Throw to first, and Randy is not sleeping, and he is safe. TJ in the building. What's good? Happy Mother's Day 2026. What's good, brother? Two balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. Pitches high and away. And Randy goes back to first. And again, we want to make sure, if we're going to be aggressive, that's fine. But again, it's not like we have a whole lot of opportunities, to be able to get guys on. And Randy is caught in between the base paths here. And Randy is out. And again, you got to be a little bit more strategic. If you're going to be jumping around, they know that in the next pitch or two, more than likely, if you're going to stay overly aggressive, that you're going to go. Randy should have, ended up going back to first. And, that wasn't very smart by Randy. I mean, after you were jumping around, 2 or 3 feet going towards second and coming back to first, you don't steal on the next pitch. You wait at least a little bit before you try to make your jump. And that was on Randy, and he gets thrown out in between the base paths. And again, that's just common sense in baseball. The other team already knows that you want to go to second, but if you don't have patience to even wait past one pitch, and as Luke Raley strikes out, that was a missed opportunity. Randy ended up getting hit in the elbow, and if he just would have waited to the next batter and then tried to steal, maybe he would have been safe. But, after being overly aggressive, bouncing around, and then literally trying to steal on the next pitch, all the White Sox players knew exactly what you were about to do. Not very smart there by Randy. Next up is J.P. Crawford. First pitch, four-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour, fouled out of play, 0-1 count. And then, again, I don't mind us being aggressive from time to time, but again, if we're not getting on base that much, we have to cherish those opportunities and make sure that we have the timing down. If we're going to try to attempt to steal a bag, and we haven't really been very good at stealing bags this year. We've been, getting caught at first base, falling asleep, getting caught in between the base paths. And again, it's not like the game is 5-0 right now, and it's no big deal. The game is still in reach for the White Sox to win. So, hopefully we'll be a little bit better, with decision making, with, running from first to second. Not everyone can be a Josh Naylor, I guess. Top of the fourth inning, Davis Martin on the mound, J.P. Crawford in the box as he fouls that one off, out of play. Sinker 94 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees, slider 88 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. And, that was irritating because when he already jumped, about 2-3 feet towards second, you already knew that at some point, he's going to go, but again, normally you don't go the next pitch. And you could see all the White Sox players looking at each other, communicating like, okay, looks like he's going to go. And he wasn't even close to getting to second base and got thrown out by a mile. Come on, Randy, be better. You've got to take advantage of every opportunity in a close 1-0 game. 2-2 pitch, hard hit ball by JP in right field and foul. Trident's up. Let's go M's. But even with the Randy mini blunder, I wouldn't be shocked if Randy makes up for it before this game is over. I mean, he already has the RBI, right, to give us the 1-0 lead, so we can't be too mad. But again, it just... it's irritating when we finally get a guy on base, either walked or hit by a pitch, and then we're not able to get them to second, and it's definitely hard to get back-to-back hits lately for the Mariners. It's not, unless we end up having Julio and Naylor, in a, hitting with someone, that can end up being that third guy. But, obviously Cal hasn't been able to be that third guy lately. 2-2 pitch to JP, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to JP Crawford. I mean, really, the only blunder that Naylor had is when the third base coach, sent him home when he got thrown out by a mile. But usually it's from first to second. Naylor is very intelligent. And that's popped up in foul territory, and that is out number 3. But again, I mean, realistically, even if Randy steals that bag, does he come home this inning? Probably not. But still, we want to make sure that we're, focusing on every little thing, in the game, that could potentially help us. And, hopefully Randy will be able to make up for it. He already is the, hero, so to speak, so far with the RBI single for Julio, but, made that mistake. And hopefully, in the future, he'll be a little bit better than that. If you're going to be jumping around, wait a few pitches or a few batters before you actually go. And hopefully he'll be able to get a big home run or RBI to make up for that mini mistake. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Logan Gilbert has been amazing. We got a 1-0 lead. It definitely feels like a low-scoring affair, but we still need a few more runs, to feel, comfortable against Davis Martin in the bullpen. Let's see who's up next. Next up for the White Sox, 0 for 1 with a K, leading MLB with 15 home runs with Aaron Judge, first baseman Munetaka Murakami. It's like Hideki Matsui, but a hell of a lot better. It's like the Shohei Ohtani of the White Sox. I like it. Batting second, 1 for 1, the former Dodger, third baseman Miguel Vargas, 2 home runs yesterday, 9 on the year. He definitely is having a career year, and it's just getting started here in 2026. I'm happy for Miguel. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, shortstop Colson Montgomery. 10 homers with him, Vargas with 9, Murakami with 15. And it's nice to be able to see this team compete after being bottom feeders for quite a few years. Let's go to the bottom of the fourth inning, 1-0 Mariners. And then the highlight of the day, besides Randy's RBI single, is this guy, right? Logan Gilbert pitching a good game. 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs. The key stat, no walks, 7 Ks, 53 pitches, 35 strikes. His ERA is almost below 4. Let's go. If we can get his ERA into the 3s in this game, this would be huge. And again, this is the type of performance that we typically expect from Logan Gilbert. And again, first 2 starts were terrible, but again, he's been much better, even though he hasn't really had electric starts after those first 2 losses. But this one feels like it could be his first electric start of the year, and we'll go back and look at the stats on any of the other starts, with the 2 wins that he has, if it was close to this. But this definitely feels like one of the better, outings out of Logan Gilbert, but he's not done yet. A few innings to go. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Munetaka Murakami. And also playing during the afternoon and morning, 10-5 coming into the year. And again, we play much better. So any pitcher that gets to take advantage of a lefty lineup with a righty on the other end, and we play in the morning or the early afternoon, it's a recipe for success for the Mariners in 2026. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Murakami. 1-2 pitch, that gets away from Cal, bounces off his protective gear, and goes through the backstop. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Murakami. But again, this is the version of Logan that I love, and I didn't know if we were going to get this version of Logan Gilbert until, later in the year, but it's refreshing to finally see. 2-2 pitch. Little dribbler towards first base. Josh Naylor is there, as reliable as they come at first base, and that is 1 away. Huge improvement over Ty France, even though Ty was a big fan favorite. Love me some Josh Naylor. And that is 1 away. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for Logan Gilbert is Miguel Vargas. In Logan's, previous starts, it kind of felt like he was throwing his whole body into every pitch, almost like he was kind of hiding like a minor injury, but again, it feels like the location and the connection, here with Cal is really on point, and it definitely shows. First pitch, high and inside, 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Logan's not going right down the middle like Castillo would. And again, we know that when pitchers go right down the middle too often and you have good players, they will make you pay. And Gilbert has been very cautious of the middle of the strike zone in this start, and it shows. 0-1 pitch, low and away, 1 ball and 1 strike to Miguel Vargas. We can move him to the bullpen, and that'll help us, with no Brash and no Spire. They're going to run a 6-man rotation for a couple weeks, but eventually I assume Castillo will go to the pen. That would be the smart, place to put him. And he could still fuck up, but again, I would rather have him go and fuck up for a half inning rather than trying to, pitch 6 innings and fucking up there, and then we get the L because we just can't win when he's on the mound. And a lot of times when he's on the mound, the Mariners aren't really doing him any justice. They usually have a lefty pitcher against us that we have a pro righty lineup. So when Castillo's on the mound, we end up having like Rob Ref Snyder, Connor Joe, Mitch Garver. And again, when you have no Luke Raley, no Brandon Donovan, no Dominic Canzone, and you have, Castillo on the mound, there's a reason why we've only put up 2 runs or less out of 5 out of 8 starts for Castillo, and we're not able to win when he's on the mound. Hard hit ball into shallow left field. Randy is there. Pop-ups, we know he can get the job done. And down goes Miguel Vargas, and that is 2 away. But again, with all the issues that Castillo has had, he has been, decent in certain innings. Like a few starts ago, he was good for 3 innings, but then he gave up 4 runs, and then he gave up 2 back-to-back big 2-run blasts. So it's like, if he can pitch good, for an inning and get 2 strikeouts, 1 strikeout, and even sometimes 3 strikeouts, we could use that in the pen, considering all these other AAA guys, Josh Simpson and whatnot that we have. And they haven't really been that great. Even Hoppy has had some good moments and bad moments. As Montgomery pops up, Brandon Donovan is there at third, and that is out number 3. But I think, besides cutting Castillo altogether, even with a guy that has an ERA above 6, for him coming in at some point in the 6th inning, the 7th inning, or the 8th inning, and just pitching only 1/2 inning, that might be the key spot for him for the rest of the year. I don't want to see him as a starter, but again, that's going to depend on Bryce Miller. He's going to have to stay healthy for the rest of the year to keep Castillo, obviously in the bullpen for the rest of the year. And then obviously we have a guy in Cade Anderson that might get called up sometime between June and August. We assume that by June, Colt Emerson will get the first call up. And then sometime maybe, in June to August, later in the year, maybe Cade will get that call up, and again, maybe we can have a kind of Trey Savage, for the Blue Jays, that type of impact, late in the year for the Blue Jays, we can get that out of Cade Anderson. So, and again, Cade has been electric in the farm system, not just for the Mariners, but comparing him to every other pitcher in single A, high A, double A, triple A, he's doing things that not a lot of guys are doing right now, and it's going to be awesome to have a dominant lefty, in our starting rotation sooner than later. Now let's go to the top of the 5th inning, and let's see if we can add on another run or 2 on the board to give us a little insurance. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1, the Italian Stallion, Dominic Canzone. Batting second, 0 for 1, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. And batting third, 0 for 2 at the top of the order, third baseman Brendan Donovan. Trident's up. Let's go M's. $89 subs to go to 24,100. Let's see how many more likes we need to get to 100 on the likes here. All right, we're at 58 likes, 42 to 100. First pitch by Davis Martin. Big swing and a miss there by Dominic Canzone. Curveball inside, 81 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Let's go Dom. 0-1 pitch in there for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. And again, I would love to be able to see Luke Raley, Dominic Canzone play every day, and again, I know there's going to be times where they're going to go 0 for 4 or 0 for 5, but, I'd rather have them than Rob Refsnyder, Connor Joe, or Mitch Garver, even though those guys have been good at times, but they're just not as consistent typically as Luke Raley. And then we know Canzone is a little bit more streaky than Raley as of late. Big swing and a miss there from Dom, and that is 1 away. Come on, Dom. Next up in the 9-hole, 0 for 1, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. Let's go, Cole. See if we can get a single, double, or a home run here out of Cole Young. But again, we're getting a great performance out of Logan Gilbert. Now we just need the bats to eventually come alive. We know how good Davis Martin is. 5-1 record, tied for third best in baseball. And again, ERA below 2, which is rare, 1.64. So based off record and ERA, essentially this is the best pitcher that we've faced so far this year. Based off record and ERA. So, but I know we're not afraid of him. And he has been a little wild today. 0-1 pitch fouled off into left field. But if we can get 1 or 2 more runs on him, and then, he goes out and then we can end up exploiting their bullpen, we might be able to win this game, 2-1, 3-2, 4-3, and we'll take that. 0-2 pitch to Cole. High and away. Good patience there by Young. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cole Young. One-two pitch. Little dribbler towards first base, almost identical to his last at-bat. Flip to Davis Martin. Toe tap on the bag, and that is 2 away. Got to be able to get a little bit more power on that follow-through swing. Next up for the Mariners after Cole Young dribbles to first base and gets out is Brendan Donovan. Come on, Donnie. I mean, we really only had that one inning where we had runners at second and third for Luke Raley to kind of extend the lead, but we haven't really had any opportunities since then. And that's a credit to Davis Martin and how good of a pitcher he's been, even though he has been a little wild here and there. First pitch takes a strike, looking low and away, 0-1 count. Magic number, 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. We hit that number. That should give us a good chance. But if we can't get to 5, then we got to try to do our best to get to 3 or 4. And if we get to those numbers, that still might be good enough to win today. You know, getting to 3 or 4 runs, considering they might only get to 1 or 2. You know, but again, getting a shutout would be great, but, you know, we don't need to get too greedy, especially after losing yesterday with Castillo on the mound. We'll take any win we can get. 0-2 pitch, fouled off. And that is out of play. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes. With nobody on and 2 outs, top of the 5th inning, 1-0 Mariners here on Mother's Day 2026. 0-2 pitch, fouls that one back to the right field sign behind the plate. No balls and 2 strikes to Brendan Donovan. Let's go, Donnie. Right ends up. Let's go, Ems. And again, we got the Astros next, and then we have the Padres. So, and again, you know, we've had the Astros number the last few years. But again, it's still going to be a war and a battle. We don't have to worry about Carlos Correa. He's injured. But again, they'll still have Altuve as well as Yordan Alvarez. And, you know, I look forward to playing them more than any team in baseball. You know, that I feel is our number one rival. Little dribbler up the middle, throw to first, down goes Donnie, and that is out number 3. And I like the rivalry with the Rangers and the A's and the Angels, and I like playing the Yankees and, you know, playing the good teams in the National League like the Braves and the Padres and the Dodgers, or anybody from the National League Central this year. But I think the matchup that I like looking forward to the most in beating is the Houston Astros. And again, we know, you know, what they're about. You know, they hate us, we hate them. And I think that, you know, most Mariner fans get a lot of enjoyment, you know, when we can end up beating the Astros. And obviously we got the sweep, aka mop. When you win 4 times in a row, it's a mop. A sweep is 3, based off Rick Riz, and we already swept them and got the mop, you know, early in the year when we were struggling. And that's when we kind of had our, you know, turning moment and turning point of the season, one of them. And hopefully we'll be able to beat them down here again after this game. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning, because when we play the Padres, even at home, we got to be shooting for 2 out of 3. But based on how the Padres have played, we might only win 1 out of 3. So we got to make up the, you know, the difference if we can beat down the Astros. But hopefully we can end up sweeping the Astros or winning as many as possible, and then hopefully shooting for 2 out of 3 at home this time around against the Padres. But Padres are damn good. All right, let's go and see who's up next here for the White Sox in the bottom of the 5th. Next up for the White Sox, 0 for 1 with a K in the 5-hole, second baseman Chase Mydrop. Batting second, right fielder in the 6-hole, 0 for 1, Jared Kelenic. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, center fielder Tristan Peters. And this has been one of the more enjoyable starts of the year that we've got to watch here on Mother's Day. 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, key stat, no walks, 7 Ks, beautiful. And let's see if Logan can get close to 10 before he ends up being out. 64 pitches, 42 strikes. 3.94 ERA. We finally got Logan's ERA below 4. It is a miracle. And again, after starting off the year really bad on opening day in his first 2 starts, this is the Logan Gilbert that we all have come to love. And again, everything going in his favor. You know, we're playing in an early morning, afternoon game. We're going against a right-handed pitcher, so we have a strong lefty lineup. And, you know, he's getting better and better on every start. I wish we could say the same for Luis Castillo. But at least we have Bryce Miller that potentially could replace him, you know, even though they're going to do a 6-man rotation for a week or 2. But, I mean, eventually that's got to come to an end and just do 5, especially if we can't win games with Castillo on the mound. Just makes sense. First pitch in there for a strike, low and away, 0-1 count to Mydrop. 0-1 pitch, low and away and into the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gilbert to Mydrop. And at some point, we're going to get hot, whether it be right before the All-Star break or after. Don't be shocked, even with the inconsistent play and injuries and all the bullshit that's gone against us. At some point, we'll probably fire off a, 6 to 10 game win streak, at some point. I don't know when, but, and it could happen more than once this year for us, especially after the All-Star break. It would be nice to get a couple, 6 to 10 game win streaks going, to give us that confidence and momentum, especially when we get all our better players, healthy back on the team, and maybe even call up a guy or two like Colt Emerson and Cade Anderson at that point too. 1-2 pitch for Mydroth, low and at the knees into the dirt. And that is 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Mydroth. And even if Gilbert ends up, only with 9 Ks, I mean, this has been really impressive, considering how many runs and hits the White Sox have put up in the first 2 games. And this is exactly the performance that we needed here on Mother's Day. 2-2 pitch. And a little dribbler up the middle. JP is there, throw to Naylor. And look at that, an accurate throw to Naylor from JP. I'm loving it. And that is 1 away. And we win, and if we find a way to win this game, we'll be 11-5, in morning afternoon games. So yeah, we're 19-21, but if we win this, we're 20-21. And remember, there's really only 2 good teams in the American League out of 15. So even though our record isn't like the Rays and the Yankees, we're still in a good position, to be the 3rd best team in the American League sooner than later. That's kind of a crazy thing to say, when you're 19-21, but it's the actual truth. If you look at the record of all the other teams in the American League, they don't have a lot of the players and the depth that we have. Injuries have definitely hurt us, quite a bit. First pitch fouled off, high and inside, 0-1 count, as well as having a poor Castillo and a poor Mooney. That hasn't really helped us either. If those guys were electric, we probably would be, 4 or 5 games above 500 right now. And we would be the 3rd best team in the American League record-wise. Maybe not as good as the Yankees or Rays, but if Castillo was at least 500, and Mooney was the regular Mooney, it's safe to say that, at bare minimum, we would flip our record to 21-19 instead of 19-21. But I imagine we would be about 4 or 5 games above 500, especially with those guys haven't really helped us out this year. 1-1 pitch, right down the middle, in there for a strike to Jared Kelenic. 1 ball and 2 strikes. From Gilbert to Kelenic. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Well, they haven't consistently, been able to prove, but if you look at their record, they overtook the Yankees. They're number 1 in the American League now. So we'll see, and sometimes you get those teams as Kelenic strikes out swinging. Another punch out there for Logan. I like that. But again, normally the Rays are not a team that is usually consistently good, but maybe this is the year. We always have 1 or 2 kind of surprise teams that come out of nowhere. And maybe this year it is the Rays for the American League. 8 Ks for Logan Gilbert. Nice job for our guy, Walter. And also too, it's like, you have to watch them play. It's like, just because they haven't been consistent in the past, are we watching every game and every pitch of the Rays? No. So, but when someone does, then you can kind of get an idea of how good, this team has been. And I've seen a little bit of them, not a lot, but again, they look legit. Will they be able to sustain it for the whole year? That's the question. We don't know, but they definitely look like one of the better American League teams with the Yankees here early on. We're a quarter of the way into the season. So, but again, if they have a few major injuries, then they can go on a downward slope, just like any team. 1-1 pitch. And a little dribbler there to Cole Young, throw to Naylor, and that is out number 3. Anything that goes to Cole Young, it is game over. And again, I love this version of Logan Gilbert. And again, he has, great lefty hitting behind him. We're playing in the morning afternoon. So you're getting the best scenario for Logan Gilbert on this Mother's Day. And again, he's got a 1-hitter. And considering how up and down Logan has been, this has probably been his most impressive start. He's had 8 Ks. He's got a 1-hitter, against a team that has been massively improved from last year, that has put up 8 and 6 in the last 2 games. And he's got them at a 1-hitter. We have to make sure that we're acknowledging Logan Gilbert. And this is the Walter that we all know and love. And after having a poor, if you want to call that poor, performance by Luis Castillo, this is exactly what we needed, but we need a little bit more offense to make sure we get the dub. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners, and let's add on another run or two. Let's go. I'm waiting for a big Mother's Day home run. Let's get it. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2 with a run and a K. Center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Single, double, triple, home run. Let's go, Julio. Batting second, 1 for 1 with a base on ball. Another hot hitter for the Mariners. First baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Since April 19th, he's been like the hottest hitter in baseball. Let's go, Naylor. That's wild considering he was bottom 2 in MLB, prior to that. He has really made up a lot of ground. And batting third, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, just hasn't been able to find the rhythm in the last 4 or 5 games. Can we just get a single out of you, Cal Raleigh? And if we can't get that, maybe an unexpected home run, that would be great. End of the 5th inning, 1-0 Mariners. $89 subs to go to 24,100. See how many likes we're at. And we're at 63, 37 to go. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train here on Mother's Day. First pitch in there to Julio Rodriguez, high and inside with a curveball, 80 miles an hour, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, big, swing and a miss. And they have a lefty warming up. So that means we might not have Luke Raley or Dominic Canzone that much longer, which is not ideal. I would just keep them in there, considering they went with the righties pretty much all game yesterday. But knowing Dan Wilson, he'll probably take out Raley and Canzone and, throw in Rob Refsnyder and Connor Joe. And, maybe those guys will get a hit. Hopefully they do. Maybe they could be the unsung hero, but hanging on to a 1-0 lead with a great outing by Logan Gilbert. Pitch fouled off there by Julio right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Davis Martin to Julio Rodriguez. 1-2 pitch. Low and away. Nice check swing and patience by Julio. If that was Julio last year or the year before, that would have easily been strike 3. He loves to chase low and away, but not as much in 2026, thankfully. But still, we'll get a few strikeouts here and there. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, and a big punch out there by Davis Martin. Down goes Julio, and that is 1 away. All right, let's see if Josh Naylor can end up being a hero. Single, double, or big home run. Let's bring the electricity, Josh Naylor. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the 6th inning, 1-0 Mariners here on Mother's Day 2026. Make sure to tell your mom Happy Mother's Day, or any mother that you have in your life. Mom, stepmom, someone in a mom role. Little dribbler up the middle by Naylor. Throw to first, and that is 2 away. Quite a few dribblers up the middle that we haven't been able to get past the infield. But again, that's a credit to the White Sox defense and Davis Martin. And next up for Davis Martin is Cal Raleigh. Can we get off the schneid, Cal? At some point, in this game or in the Astro series, and hopefully we don't have to wait to the Padres series for you to get your first hit. I mean, it's already been this 0 for a billion. We got to get you going. First pitch, high and away, 1-0 count. And again, if Cal's not able to get hits, at the very least, we need him to walk. So that way we can at least get him on base for a chance for someone to knock him in. 162 average. He doesn't have 7 home runs and 18 ribbies, but that batting average is, maybe 100 points too low. Hard hit ball into right field and foul. And it looks like a mom ends up getting the Cal Raleigh foul ball there and getting excited. Nothing better than getting a baseball on Mother's Day in the crowd and also being a mom. 1-1 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. Two-one pitch, good take there, low and at the knees. 3 balls and 1 strike to Cal Raleigh. If it's not there, Cal, just take the walk. It's just as good as getting a single, if you get on first base. Let's go. 3-1 pitch in there for a strike. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Jimbo in the building. Tri-Cities in the building. Pacific Northwest in the building. Happy Mother's Day. 3-2 pitch. And a little dribbler towards first base and foul. Count still is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. But again, with the Astros' woes with their pitching this year, if he doesn't get a hit in this game, it's probably a smart bet that he'll get going in that Astros series with all the bad pitchers they have as far as starters and bullpen. And another hard hit ball towards right field and foul. But it would be great for him to at least get a hit, single, double, or a home run, before this game is over. But, we'll see. But I know against that Astro pitching, he'll be able to have a few good opportunities. 3-2 pitch, and fights that one off. If he just would have not swung there, that would have been ball 4. Count still full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. Three-two pitch. There we go. And Cal takes a walk, and we haven't seen that, right? He's been striking out, popping up left and right. And again, I know it's not the ultimate result that we want, but getting on base, to first with a walk is essentially just getting like a little, bloop single. So we'll take it. Nice job, Cal, taking the walk and not striking out. Baby steps for him to get better. Next up is Randy Arozarena. And we got a mound visit. Let's go. Randy up. First pitch, high and inside with a sinker, 92 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss with the slider low and away, 86 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Top of the 6th inning, 1-0 Mariners with a runner at first and 2 outs. Cal taking a walk, which is nice to be able to see him at least get on base. But 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and Randy is not able to move him over, and that is out number 3. And it looks like Davis Martin is done. And even though, he's down 1-0, the White Sox, he did a great job overall. I mean, there's a reason why, he is 5-1. There's a reason why his ERA is 1.64. This is one of the best pitchers that we have been able to face this year. Luckily, we were able to get that RBI by Randy and that wild pitch for Julio to get to second to third. Otherwise, this game would be 0-0. And, if they bring in a lefty and it's 0-0, and then we have to take out Raley and Canzone, and they bring in Refsnyder as well as Connor Joe, I mean, you don't really know what's going to happen. More times than not, we could potentially lose. So we're hanging on to a 1-run lead. We're still not comfortable just yet, but hopefully we'll be able to find a way if they do take out Raley and Canzone for Connor Joe and Refsnyder. We'll see. Sean Newcomb, the lefty, will be coming in. And let's take a look at who's up next here for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox in the 8-hole, 0-for-1 with a K, DHing Randall Grichuk. Batting second in the 9-hole, 0-for-1 with a K, catcher Drew Romo, no relation to Tony. And batting third, 0-for-2 with a K, left fielder Sam Antonacci. Happy Mother's Day 2026. 89 subs to go, do 24,100. And we're at 71 likes, 29 to 100. Sean in the building, what's good? Trident's up. Spiky in the building, what's good? And Gilbert's at 8 Ks, so if he can get 2 more, before he ends up leaving this game, he's at 77 pitches. That'll put him at 10, and that would be amazing. Obviously, best case scenario for him to strike out the side and get to 11, but that might be a little tough, considering it's hard to strike out the side no matter who you are in the MLB in 2026. First pitch takes a strike, looking low and away, 0-1 count. Good start here. 0-1 pitch, high and away. And one thing about this Gilbert start that really has stuck out, he hasn't been throwing down the middle over and over and over where he's been giving up home runs early in the season. He finally has learned that, you got to paint the corners and, touch the middle of the plate, once, maybe, per at bat. That goes over Logan Gilbert. Right there to Cole Young, throw to first, and that is 1 away. And good job there by Logan, not trying to attempt to get that ball and letting Cole do his job. Nice job. And again, Logan is only kind of testing, down the middle, maybe once or twice, per batter. And it's really helped our chances of winning this game here today. And that is 1 away. And if he can strike out the last 2 batters, he'll be able to get to 10. But at this point, we just want the dub. But obviously, the stat line is looking good. Next up is Drew Romo. On deck is Sam Antonacci. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. First pitch is low and away. Changeup, 83 miles an hour, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Hard hit ball towards first base and foul. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gilbert to Romo. It might end up being a 2-1 kind of game, 3-2, 4-3, depending on, what happens in the bullpen. Or it could end up still being a 1-0 or 2-1 win. 1-1 pitch popped up, and Julio! There we go. That's the Julio that I'm talking about. He's been working on pre-game drills, with a lot of the coaches. And again, good hustle there out of Julio for some people that maybe have thought he's lost a little bit of a step, this year. But getting, some good breaks on that ball and being able to make that play. Nice job there by Julio Rodriguez in the no-fly zone. That easily could have been a bloop single in center field, but nice hustle by Julio, and that is 2 away. First pitch to Sam Antonacci, fouls that one off, 0-1 count. So looks like Logan isn't going to be able to get to 10 Ks, but if he can get Antonacci, he can get to 9. That would be big. Nice job by Julio. Oh, 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gilbert to Antonacci. Bottom of the 6th inning, 1-0 Mariners. It's definitely a pitcher's duel with Davis Martin and Logan Gilbert. Randy Arozarena with an RBI single, scoring Julio from 3rd in the 1st inning. And that's it. It's a 3-hitter right now for the White Sox, and Gilbert's got a 1-hitter right now. And 8 Ks on top of that, which is amazing. Pitch fouled off behind the plate by Antonacci. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Antonacci. And if we can get 1 more big swing and a miss or a strike 3 looking, that'll be 9 Ks. And then Gilbert's day more than likely will be done. He's at 85 pitches right now. I mean, unless they wanted him to pitch the first batter in the top of the 7th, but I don't think they're going to have him go out there and pitch over 100 pitches. 1-2 pitch from Gilbert to Antonacci. Big swing and a miss, and he gets his 9th K. And this has probably been the most impressive start from Logan Gilbert all year. Nice job. Now we just need some runs to make sure that we win this game. Great job, Logan. 1 hitter, 9 Ks. This is exactly what we need after that meltdown by Castillo and the pen last night. Great job here on Mother's Day 2026. Great job, Logan Gilbert. End of the 6th inning, 1-0 Mariners. 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs. The key stat, no walks, 9 Ks, 87 pitches, 58 strikes, 3.78 ERA, which is great because his ERA was 4.30 coming into the game. So if we can find a way to get him to 3-3 and win this game, that would be huge. Awesome. Great job. And I assume they're going to be bringing in Sean Whitcomb So I don't know if this lineup is going to be Luke Raley, JP Crawford, Dominic Canzone. This could end up being, Rob Refsnyder, JP Crawford, and, Connor Joe. So we'll wait and see what this happens. But I assume Davis Martin's day is done, and they're going to bring in the lefty. And even though Raley and Canzone are both 0-2 right now, I think I would rather have them than, Refsnyder or Connor Joe. But you never know. Sometimes Refsnyder and Connor Joe come in, and then they end up surprising us, right? So Trident's up. Let's go M's. Newcomb is coming in for Martin. Now we get a lefty in, and we know how we typically struggle against lefties. But luckily we're up 1-0, not tied 0-0. All right, we're at 78 likes, 22 to 100. We got 204 in the room. If we can get 22 people to hit that like button, we'll be at over 100. I mean, Murakami has got 15 home runs like Aaron Judge and, has a double, on the season. But Mariners have been pretty good so far. I mean, is it possible that Munetaka Murakami gets a hit for your parlay to win? Yeah, it's possible, but we'll see. And now we got Connor Joe coming in, which I figured that would be the case. So no more Luke Raley, which I don't really like, but, that's where we're going. We got a Mariners challenge. And now we got a 1-0 count here on Connor Joe, and hopefully Connor Joe and Rob Refsnyder, Mitch Garver, if they end up coming into this game, hopefully they'll do something. 1-0 pitch, little blooper by Connor Joe, diving catch, miss by Antonacci, and there we go. And look at that. Maybe Luke Raley gets up and he ends up popping out, or striking out. And then we bring in Connor Joe, even though we'd rather have Luke Raley. And look at that. You had a little bit of a meltdown by Antonacci in left, playing a new position. And Connor Joe takes advantage of the diving attempt that's missed. And Connor Joe with a double. Here we go. And again, sometimes it's, the least likely guys that you expect to be a hero. More times than not, we don't expect Refsnyder and Joe to do anything. But every once in a blue moon, they will end up taking advantage of a mistake, like right there, or actually just getting a big home run or a clean hit. Nice job there by Connor Joe. Next up is JP Crawford. Let's see if JP can get us a RBI or a home run here. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss there from Sean Newcomb, the lefty. 1 ball and 1 strike to JP Crawford. And remember, we're not very good, against left-handed pitching. So for Connor Joe to be able to get a double right out of the gates here to potentially give us the insurance that we need to win is huge. Bring him home. 1-1 pitch, hard hit ball towards first. Joe cannot advance. Throw to first, and that is 1 away. Oh, Joe does advance. Okay, they were looking at him, and I couldn't tell if they were keeping him at second. Joe does end up scampering to third. Great job there by JP moving the runner. And that is 1 away. There we go. Yo, Joe. And again, Connor Joe and Rob Refsnyder are very up and down, and now we have Refsnyder getting a chance to see if he can do what Connor Joe did. Come on, Rob. I mean, it just would be so ironic if Joe and Refsnyder are the reason why we win this game. But again, that's what makes Mariner baseball interesting. You just never know what you're going to get game in and game out. First pitch takes a strike, looking with a slurve ball, slider curve, which has become a little bit more popular in the last 2 years. And we got a Mariners challenge there by Refsnyder, and he loses it. And it is an 0-1 count. Even getting an RBI single here by Refsnyder would be fucking huge for us. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Sean Newcomb, the lefty, to Rob Refsnyder. Newcomb on the mound, Refsnyder in the box. Let's go, Rob. We could definitely use one of those. He hits a home run here and makes it 3-0. Not saying it's over, but that would give us a good cushion. 1-1 pitch, hard hit ball towards third base and foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at third, Connor Joe with 1 out. And again, we've only had 2 opportunities with runners at second and third or third. We had Luke Raley with runners at second and third, and he struck out, and that would have extended the 1-0 lead to 2-0, 3-0. And this is the only other opportunity we've had all game to maybe potentially bring someone home, from second or third, considering Randy tried to steal and got thrown out. That was really the only other chance that we maybe had to get a runner in scoring position. 2-2 pitch from Newcomb, high and away. A little bit of a meltdown here from Sean. I like it. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Rob Refsnyder. Come on, Rob. We have to try to get to 3 or 4 if possible. 3-2 pitch. Refsnyder thinks it's a walk, and the ump says that he went around. And Refsnyder makes his way to the dugout here. Let's take a look at this again. Can't really tell if he went fully around based off the camera angle that they had behind the pitcher, not closer to the catcher, but that is 2 away. That's unfortunate. And next up is Cole Clutch Young. Let's see if Cole can be clutch again and get an RBI with Connor Joe at third. We need it. Come on, Cole. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Give us a little blooper into right field. Pull this baseball to make it 2-0 Mariners. 1-0 pitch. Ends up getting away from the catcher, and Joe scampers back to third. 2 balls and no strikes to Cole Young. Come on, Cole. And we know that you can do things defensively. You're, an amazing player, as they're showing Refsnyder going around in the Supermo there. And again, it's just nice to be able to have a guy that can do things on offense and defense. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Yeah, but they didn't show the replay until just moments ago on that Supermo. You see the check swing, but, to tell if he actually went around, you need that closer camera angle that they finally showed that he did go around. And again, we just have to take advantage now with Connor Joe at third with 2 outs. 1-0 Mariners here on Mother's Day. 1-2 pitch. And a little blooper to Jared Kelenic should be routine. And that is out number 3. We leave another runner stranded, which is unfortunate, but at least we have a 1-0 lead. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see who's up next year for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, 0 for 2 with a K, first baseman Munetaka Murakami. Batting second, 1 for 2, third baseman Miguel Vargas. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, shortstop Colson Montgomery. And this is going to be the 3 hardest hitters to get out. They're 3 best. And hopefully we'll be able to get the job done. And I assume Logan Gilbert's day is done. He's at 87 pitches, unless they try to have him pitch to Murakami, and try to get 1 more K to 10 and then, bring in whoever they decide to bring in after. But hopefully we can find a way to, win this game. Even if we end up winning 1-0, we'll take it. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Gained 1 sub since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. 88 subs to go to 24,100. Great female viewership. Great viewership globally in Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and Europe. Appreciate you. All right, we're at 80 likes, 20 more to get to 100. We need 20 more likes out of 192 in the room, and our goal there. We're still looking for our first dono on our dono train here on Mother's Day. Retired 18 out of 19 batters faced. Logan Gilbert, only base runner was Vargas with a double. Season high, 9 strikeouts, best game of the 2026 season, and 936 career strikeouts, too short of passing Mike Moore for 5th most in team history, which he will do on his next start. And Logan is done, and Jose Ferrer is in the game now. think I would rather have Jose Ferrer be our closer over Mooney, but and Cal Raleigh having a quick talk with Ferrer here. All right, come on, Jose. We need you to be good. Ferrer on the mound, taking over for Logan Gilbert. And we got Munetaka Murakami in the box, Miguel Vargas on deck, and then Colson Montgomery, their three best hitters. 15 home runs for Murakami, 9 for Vargas, 2 yesterday, and Montgomery with 10. So again, if we can get past these three guys, it should be, I don't want to say smooth sailing the rest of the way, but it should be a little easier. First pitch from Ferrer to Murakami in there for a strike. That's what I like to see. 0-1 count. Oh, 0-1 pitch. High and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Munetaka Murakami. And remember, Jose Ferrer was the closer for the Nationals for half the year last year. So if we do, need someone to replace Mooney besides Brash, it could be Ferrer if they choose to. 1-1 pitch, little dribbler up the middle, and Munetaka Murakami gets his first hit of the game. And again, obviously Logan Gilbert was electric. Ferrer's been sitting for 2 hours. And again, we just can't have them get on a rally here. We have to shut it down, with a double play now, a double play and a strikeout, or a strikeout and a double play. So 1 out of their 3 dangerous hitters gets on with a single. At least it wasn't a home run. And now we got Miguel Vargas in the box with Colson Montgomery on deck. Cannot give up a home run to Vargas or Montgomery, because if that happens, we might lose. Come on now. First pitch, high and inside to Vargas. 1-0 count. Come on, Ferrer. One-zero pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Miguel Vargas. We need the Mariner Moose now. Let's go. We need good luck. 2-0 pitch, low and at the knees. And this doesn't look like the good Ferrer. This looks like the bad Ferrer, at least initially. 3 balls and no strikes to Miguel Vargas when they already have a runner at first. And we only have a 1-0 lead, so not a lot of room for error here. 3-0 pitch. Finally gets a strike in there down the middle. 3 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first and no outs. Bottom of the 7th inning, 1-0 Mariners. But again, for us to feel comfortable to win this game, we're probably going to have to try to get to 3 at the very least. 3-1 pitch, fouled off, out of play. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Miguel Vargas. Strikeout, double play, strikeout. We haven't asked for a double play all game long. We might need one, though. DL with a 5er. Appreciate you. No, because, we've had injuries and, a few guys with poor play. But again, nothing to worry about. There's only 2 good teams in the American League out of 15, so which is rare. And so even with the Mariners, at 19 and 21, we can still win the division. And if we don't win the division, we can get a wild card. But we're still one of the better teams in the American League, even with the record. Popped up by Vargas. Young is there, and that is 1 away. So, obviously it's not exactly what we wanted. But again, if we had a better version of Mooney and Castillo, we would be 3, 4, 5 games above 500. So you just got to be patient. Things will get better. And I appreciate you with the $5 holla here on Mother's Day. We're at 5:95 to go. Appreciate you. But plus, we're also a slow starting team. We don't really play our best baseball, regardless of what year we're talking about, until after the All-Star break, which is July 14th. So after July 14th, we're really good, but usually in the first half of the season, we typically are average, usually around 500 more times than not. So, and sometimes even a couple games below. 1-0 pitch. Montgomery, give me the double play. Give it to me. Fielder's choice at second. No double play throw, and that is 2 away. But at least we get Murakami there at second. Nice play there by J.P. Crawford. All right, good job by the defense there with 2 outs. And now we get past the hardest part of the lineup, and now we have Chase Mydroth. So even though Ferrer ended up giving an initial hit to Murakami and had a 3-0 count on Vargas, we're able to get out of that mini jam, so to speak. Throw to Naylor, and he is safe. Colson Montgomery at first. Chase Mydroth in the box, and with pop-up, strikeout, ground out, whatever. And fielder's choice, we'll take whatever, and we'll go to the bottom of the 7th and transition to the top of the 8th and hopefully put up another run. Hard hit ball, and it goes into right field. And now they have runners now in position on Jose Ferrer. Come on, Jose. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Next up in the 6th hole, right fielder Jared Kalanick. You know, we can't give up back-to-back hits, you know. And again, this isn't the good Jose. But hopefully we'll be able to find a way here. But it shows you with the lack of not having Matt Brash, our number 1, and our number 3 in Gabe Spire, you know, it definitely puts more pressure on Eduard Bizardo, Jose Ferrer, you know, Cooper Criswell, Alex Hoppy, and all of the rest of the other guys that we've brought up from AAA or got from other teams. And we saw a few of those guys yesterday and not really that good. So, you know, hopefully we'll be able to get Kelenic out here. Oh, and they're going to substitute him for Edgar Cairo. And hopefully we'll be able to get Edgar out here. First pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Jose Ferrer to Edgar Cairo. Pitch gets away from Cal, but runners do not advance. 2 balls and 1 strike from Ferrer to Cairo. Come on, Mariners. I don't know. It really depends if they get back to him in the order, you know, but realistically, is it possible? It could, you know, but it doesn't feel like a game where he's going to homer, though. But you never know. You know, when you're one of the top guys in MLB with Aaron Judge, you can homer at any time. But based off the flow of the game, it feels like, you know, he probably won't, but you never know. Depends on if we go to extra innings or not. 2-2 pitch. Fuck, Ferrer. And he hits Cairo in the fucking hip. Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ, Jose. How did we go from having one of the best starts from our pitcher and Logan Gilbert to this trash that we're looking in front of us on Mother's Day with Jose Ferrer? Golly. And it shows you how important a good bullpen is. You know, you're going to win and lose more games in that position group than any other position group in baseball. You know, you can end up playing an amazing game with Logan Gilbert and have it just ripped out, you know, out of underneath you in a matter of 5 minutes with a bad bullpen guy. And Jose Ferrer now has bases loaded with 2 outs, and we're going to need, hopefully, a miracle here to be able to keep it at 1-0. Fucking A, man. You know, this team is always stressful. You know, it's always one thing or another, you know. Starting pitching good, but then the bullpen fucks up, you know. Hitting might be good, and then, the defense fucks up. It's always one thing or another, but hopefully Jose can get out of this jam. Bunt is dropped. Interesting call there with the bunt for Peters. I mean, does he realize they have bases loaded? You just, you know, we tag home, and then that's, you know, out number 3, but, you know, and again, maybe they're anticipating Jose Ferrer not making the right decision, which could happen, and throwing to the wrong area, and then all of a sudden they end up being safe off a wild throw, and then they win the game. So 0-1 pitch to Tristan Peters, another bunt. This is interesting. They're trying to bunt to win here. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tristan Peters. You don't see anybody really bunt with bases loaded, but again, with a guy like Jose Ferrer, maybe they're thinking he's going to have a meltdown. I mean, he already has. 1-1 pitch and another bunt. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Ferrer to Peters. I don't think I've seen this all year from any team, and again, maybe they're anticipating instead of, throwing home, that he'll throw to first and he'll overthrow Naylor, and then guys will be safe and it'll be 2-1 White Sox. But hopefully we can get this last out here. 1-2 pitch with bases loaded. And it goes low and away. But this version of Jose Ferrer is trash. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Ferrer to Peters. Come on, Jose. Can you give me one fucking good pitch so we can hang on to this fucking 1-0 lead on Mother's Day? Come on, Jose. Time is called. Well, that was good because that would have ended up being a ball anyways. Two pitch, high and away. Come on, Jose. My God. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Ferrer to Peters. I mean, it's bad enough that we have a shitty Castillo and a shitty Mooney. The last thing that we need is a shitty Ferrer with no Brash and Spire since they're on the injured list. Come on. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with bases loaded. Please, Jose. Give me one good pitch. 3-2 pitch. And just gets a piece, and it gets deflected off Cal on the thigh there. Hopefully he's okay. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with bases loaded and 2 outs. Come on, Jose. Everybody standing there, obviously, at right field for Chicago. We're not going to get Brash and Spire back for a couple weeks. And then when they come back, they may not be that good to start off. 3-2 pitch. Little dribbler up the middle. Get it, get it, get it. Throw to first. Got him. Oh, baby. Oh, my God. Cole Young just saved us from potentially losing this game. Are you kidding me? He is the best defender on this team by a mile, but with a challenge, they probably will. He wasn't able to get the runner at second. Throws back to first. And it looks like he did get him barely. Look at Cole Young. Yep, and it looks like the foot is still up while the ball goes into the back of the mitt for Naylor. And wow, again, without Cole Young, you got to understand how many runs he has saved us. Normally we know Cole and Julio are the best all-around players, offense, defense, and whatnot, even though Cole sometimes will go 0 for 4 or 0 for 8. But nobody has saved more runs for the Mariners this year out of any position than Cole Clutch Young. And, again, he may not get hits every game, but he'll save us 1, 2, 3, 4 runs almost every game. And if that ends up being safe based off the momentum, we probably lose this game unless, the bats come alive in the 8th and the 9th. All it takes is for them to get to 2, and we might not be able to even get another run the rest of the way. Great job by Cole Young. He deserves to be an all-star this year. Even though, the batting average and the hits, may not comply to, certain people's, vote getting. But if you actually watch this team game in and game out, nobody is better on defense on the Mariners than Cole Clutch Young. So, maybe, we get Julio Rodriguez, Cole Young, and I don't know, maybe even Josh Naylor in the All-Star game, and maybe even one of our pitchers as well. But nice job there by Cole Young. Huge. Captain with a 10er. It's a Cole world, baby. And again, if he doesn't get that throw, as he tried to get the runner at second and, tap on that bag, but, the runner was already there. But that definitely saved the game for the Mariners. And again, we have to be very thankful we have Cole Young there, not Jorge Polanco, because there's no way in hell Jorge Polanco makes that fucking play. Let's go to the top of the 8th inning, and let's see if we can get one more run to make up, obviously, for that almost big blunder by Jose Ferrer. My goodness. Next up, 0 for 3. Third baseman, Brendan Donovan. Batting second, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. And batting third, first baseman, Josh Naylor. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. go, baby. And Ryan Hudson comes into the game. First pitch to Brandon Donovan in there for a strike. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Brendan Donovan. And again, I love defense. You know, that's my favorite thing in sports, whether it be in baseball, basketball, football, or hockey. You know, it really shows how much effort that you have to put in to be a great defender. Anybody can be a good offensive player, you know, but again, to be a great defender takes extra effort. And again, great job there. Unfortunately, Donovan strikes out swinging there high and inside on 3 pitches, and that is 1 away. Down goes Donnie. Still hasn't really been that on yet since the injury. Better than Cal, but not by much. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. First pitch to Julio from Hudson. Big swing and a miss. Excuse me. 0-1 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 0-1 pitch, little dribbler towards third base. Vargas is there, throw to first, and that is 2 away as Murakami toe taps the bag. 2 outs, very quick here for the White Sox. But let's see if Josh Naylor can start a rally here or hit us a home run to give us the win. Let's go Nails. Ryan Hudson on the mound. Josh Naylor in the box. Happy Mother's Day 2026. Yeah, I mean, if Cal was rolling, you can have him in the 2 or the 3, but considering he's like 0 for a billion, putting him in the 4 or the 5 is, you know, the right move to do. And Randy typically stays in the 5, so putting him in the 4 was the smart move. I agree. You know, as soon as I saw that on the lineup card today, I thought this will give us a better chance, you know, late in the game to be able to have Donnie, you know, Julio and Naylor rather than Cal taking one of those spots and just striking out. 1-1 pitch, Naylor, hard hit ball into right field, and it bloops for a single. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. Scott with a 5er. Appreciate you, Scott. And Peters is there, and that is out number 3. Now, if Cal is the Cal from last year, you can afford to have him in the 2 or the 3 hole, you know, obviously hitting 60 home runs, you know, and obviously being an offensive threat. But, you know, you can't afford to have Cal in the 2 hole after the injury and the way that he's looked. You know, again, late in games, you know, you want to have that potential 5th at bat, and you want it to have your 3 best hitters potentially have that opportunity, not your worst hitter, you know, taking away from one of the better hitters in the lineup. So let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning. We're, you know, barely hanging on to a 1-0 lead here on Mother's Day 2026, but, you know, hopefully we'll be able to add on at least another run. But again, if we end up winning this game 1-0, so be it. But again, Jose Ferrer definitely almost shit the bed for us and lost the game for us. But luckily, Cole Young saved the day, you know, with his great defense. Now let's see what we can do here with the White Sox here in the bottom of the 8th. Next up for the White Sox in the 8-hole, DHing Randall Grichuk. Batting second in the 9-hole, catcher Drew Romo. And batting third, I believe, leading off will be Sam Antonacci. And they're going to bring Edward Bizardo in the game, so we don't have to worry about Ferrer anymore, thank God. And hopefully this is the good version of Edward Bizardo. But again, if we have a 1-0 lead and then we bring in Mooney, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to win. You know, he's blown a lot of games for us this year where we've had a 1-run lead and then the other team has scored 1 to tie or 2 to take the lead. So, you know, it would be nice if we could get 1 more run in the top of the 9th, but we will see. And we have to obviously keep them at a 0, you know, to feel comfortable. And hopefully this will be the good version of Edward Bizardo. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Yeah, and again, Cal obviously 0 for a billion, but we do play against bad pitching with the Astros, starters and bullpen. So you have to assume, even as bad as Cal has been, 0 for a billion, that he'll be able to get a home run or a single or double, at least at some point, in that particular Astros series. Now, when we play the Padres after that, he'll probably go back to being the player that we've seen. But, you never know. Maybe the Astros series will, get him going, and then we'll be able to carry that over into the Padres series. But again, we got to be able to get the job done. Bottom of the 8th, 1-0 Mariners here on Mother's Day 2026. Eduard Bizardo, first pitch into Grichuk, in there for a strike, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes from Bizardo to Grichuk. Let's go. 0-2 pitch, high and away, sinker at 95 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizardo to Grichuk. WBC didn't really help us, and again, he was overworked last season. And it's actually kind of crazy that he didn't have a major injury last year. Definitely was overworked. WBC didn't help. Not enough time with the teammates in spring training. And, and then he got hurt and, just hasn't been the player that we expected. But again, it definitely is hard to bounce back after an injury. We haven't really seen the best version of Cal or Brandon Donovan just yet. 1-2 pitch, hard hit ball, deep left field, and gone. Jesus Christ, Eduard Bizardo. And just like that, our 1-0 lead disappears. And the guy that's supposed to be the best in our bullpen, has been shaky lately and gives up a big home run to Randall Grichuk. And just like that, the game is tied up 1-1. And we're going to have to find a way to dig deep to score runs in the top of the ninth to win this game. Golly. And this team, it's like you just never know what you're going to get out of the bullpen. Is it going to be a good, opportunity, or is it going to be bad? And now we have Ferrer and Bizardo looking like trash. And now the game is tied up with no outs. And more times than not, Bizardo will get the job done. But every once in a while, he will give up an RBI or a home run. And this is the bad Bizardo. No Brash or Spire to compensate since they're on the injured list. And this is not ideal. 0-1 pitch and another big hit into right field that drops all the way back to the wall. Connor Joe and Romo going to second. Get him. And he is safe. Jesus Christ. And now we're potentially going to lose the game, unless we can do something in the top of the ninth, especially if they get to 2-1 or 3-1. I don't know if we're going to be able to come back. I mean, there's a chance that we could, but, momentum has definitely shifted here into the White Sox favor. And, Logan Gilbert finally has the best game in 2026, and now this is what we get from the bullpen. It's just it just feels so unfair sometimes, right? It's like Emerson Hancock with 14 Ks, but we can't even win that fucking game against the Royals. It's like, can the bullpen just play good for fucking once when our starter plays well, no matter who it is? I mean, when Castillo comes out, we already know it's a loss, but if it's anybody else and they play good, come on. Little bunt, throw to first. And we finally get our first out, and that is 1 away. Now they got a runner at third with 1 out, so they're going to be looking for a sac fly opportunity here. We can still win this game, but again, it definitely is going to take a lot more now. Bottom of the 8th with 1 out. Bizardo on the mound, shitting the bed like Ferrer. And they're going to intentionally walk Murakami. They don't want to give up a big home run. And now we got runners at first and third. But again, after Murakami, you got Miguel Vargas and Colson Montgomery. And again, Vargas has got 9 home runs. Montgomery's got 10. Murakami's got 15. So this isn't going to be like easy sledding, after, intentionally walking Murakami. Vargas and Montgomery are just as dangerous as of late. So hopefully we'll be able to not give up another big RBI or home run, or that might be game over for us. And again, we haven't talked about it too much, but can we get a double play to end this particular 8th inning? That might be the thing that saves us from winning this game 2-1 in the 9th or in extras. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Can I get a double play from the sports gods, please? So slow dribbler up the middle. 1-0 count, takes a strike looking high and away. Sinker at 94 miles an hour by Eduard Bizardo. 1 ball and 1 strike to Miguel Vargas. Come on, Mariners, find a way. And time is called here from Cal Raleigh. But again, that's just kind of our MO, right? It's like starting pitching is great, then the bullpen fucks up. Or hitting is great, and then the defense gets 2 errors. It's like that Spider-Man meme where they're just pointing at each other. It's like it's really hard to be able to get pitching, starting pitching, bullpen, hitting, and defense all to come around in the same game. But nothing is more infuriating or maddening, is when you actually get a starter to do something magical. Gilbert with 9 Ks, best start. Emerson Hancock, 14 Ks to lead MLB, and we still fucking can't win. Now, we can still win this game, but I don't like what I've seen out of Ferrer and Bizardo here, and it shows how limited we are in the bullpen. Even calling up Cade Anderson and having him start in the bullpen to help us out sooner than later could really be big. I want to see Anderson and Colt Emerson on this roster sooner than later. 1 ball and 1 strike to Miguel Vargas, the former Dodger. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Miguel Vargas. Two-one pitch, popped up, shallow left field. Get it, Randy. Yes, but the runner is gonna go get him. Jesus, what kind of throw is that from Randy? Not even close. Runner slides home and safe, and then the White Sox now take the 2-1 lead. Man, and that's why, hanging on to a 1-0 lead, you can't feel too comfortable because you just know at some point or another, the other team is going to be able to get a rally either in the 8th or the 9th. And Ferrer and Bizardo shitting the bed again. Next up is Colson Montgomery. And again, we can't let them score any more than what they have now. If they get to 3, it's probably game over, but if we can hang on to a 2-1, there's a chance that we might be able to get something in the top of the 9th. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes to Colson Montgomery. But again, having Luis Castillo and Andres Munoz with ERAs of 6, let alone having guys like Ferrer and Bizardo, if we can't trust them, who the hell do we trust? And this is supposed to be the number 1 guy in the pen besides Matt Brash, but 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, but a little too late, Eduard Bizardo. Now you put us in a fucking hole, and hopefully we can dig ourselves out of it. And now we need to get a run to tie and 2 to potentially win. Let's see if we actually have the right people in place to do it, and it's going to be tough. Next up, 1 for 2 with an RBI and a K, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Now, it would be nice to have Luke Raley, but obviously they replaced him, and now we have Connor Joe, even though he was able to get a double off a misplaced ball by Sam Antonacci. So Randy Arozarena, Connor Joe, and JP Crawford. So that doesn't really sound like the best 3 guys, at this point in the top of the 9th, but we just have to pray that, if we're not going to be able to get 2 runs, hopefully someone will get an unexpected home run between Randy, Connor, or JP, and then maybe we can win this game 3-2 in extra innings. End of the 8th inning, 2-1 Chicago. And Dominguez is coming in for Hudson. But the bullpen position group will win you or lose you more games than any group in baseball. Not just for the Mariners, but anyone. All right, we got to 104. 121 more to get to 125. We got 218 in the room. Let's see if we can get to 125 or 150. And now we just got to pray that we can get something going here. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up, 1 for 2 with an RBI and a K. We need this version of Randy right now. Randy Arozarena. Top of the 9th inning. Mariners now down by a run after having a 1-0 lead for the whole game. And Logan Gilbert having the best start in 2026 with 9 Ks with a 1-0 lead. But then Jose Ferrer comes in and, shits the bed. And so does Edward Bizardo. And even though Ferrer was, someone that we hope that we can trust, but again, bullpen blowing it again, and hopefully we can find a way. But even though Ferrer kind of blew it, he didn't end up giving up the big earned runs. Obviously, Bizardo is the one that blew the game. Ferrer ended up having bases loaded, but we were able to get out of that jam. But then you think, oh, okay, well, at least Bizardo will be better than Ferrer, but apparently not. Top of the 9th. Dominguez on the mound, Randy Arozarena in the box. Got to find a way to score 1 or 2 here. Got to find a way to win 3-2 in regulation or in extras. And again, if we can't get 2 to win this inning, then we got to get at least 1 to tie and to try to extend this game out. But you got to remember, Bizardo ended up being our best, bullpen player last year. And the year before that, he was one of the worst, with Taylor Saucedo, who's no longer on the team. So, he's come a long ways, but again, it's not like any of us would be able to do any better. When you're sitting for 2.5 hours and then you have to come into a game, sometimes you're going to be electric and sometimes you're just going to be off. But, not exactly what we wanted to see, from our potential number 1 guys since Brash and Spire are on the IL. Not ideal. And I was disappointed in what I saw out of Ferrer there as well. We need to work on better right-handed hitters and better players in the bullpen moving forward after this year if we want to be able to, keep going forward. First pitch fouled off there by Randy towards third base, 0-1 count. Top of the 9th inning, 2-1 White Sox. We got the Houston Astros next, starting tomorrow. And then after that, the Padres at home. So, got to get the job done. 0-1 pitch. High and away. Sweeper, 84 miles an hour there by Dominguez. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Jordan in the building. What's good, brother? Happy Mother's Day. Have the Reds started to turn things around, or are they still playing shaky? 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Sinker. Low and at the knees. 97 miles an hour there by Dominguez. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 9th. White Sox retook the lead with bad bullpen pitching by Edward Bizardo, giving up 2 when we had the 1-0 lead. I mean, we already have a problem with Castillo and Andres Munoz. The last thing that we need is Bizardo and Ferrer to be fucking shitty too. And they're a little bit more consistent than those other 2, but 2-2 pitch. And that is strike 3 looking. Down goes Randy, and that is 1 away. Randy is challenging. Softened up the Astros. I appreciate that. And that is strike 3. Randy loses the challenge. And this would have been Luke Raley and JP Crawford, but again, switching it up when lefty and righties go in. So it'll be Connor Joe and JP Crawford. And Connor Joe did end up getting a double on his first at bat. So I guess we have that going for us. But what are the chances of Connor Joe going 2 for 2? We got to pray that he does it here and gets that unexpected Connor Joe home run to tie the game up 2-2. First pitch to Joe, fouls it off into right field, out of play. And again, Joe can have a lot of power in his swings, maybe a little bit more trust than Ref Snyder, when he gets in, but still, when you have limited at-bats, you just don't know what to expect. 0-1 pitch. Low and away, and takes a strike. No balls and 2 strikes from Dominguez to Joe. But if we don't get it going here, we're going to lose 2-1 in a matter of a couple minutes. And that's heartbreaking. Logan Gilbert having a great fucking game, and then you have a bullpen player just blow it like that, but that is baseball. Come on, Connor. Dig deep. We got to find a way to win this game 3-2 in extras. 0-2 pitch. Fouls that one behind the plate. No balls and 2 strikes from Dominguez to Joe. Yeah, we don't have Brash, our number 1, or Spire, our number 3, so on top of having a bad closer in Mooney and a bad starter in Castillo, it's just, those things have hurt a lot. 0-2 pitch, low and away, and then on top of Cal struggling also on top of that, so it's like, Julio and Naylor and Cole Young have been great, but again, you can only have, so many guys, injured or playing bad, and, just have a lot going against us recently. 1-2 pitch from Dominguez to Joe. And Joe with a hard hit ball in right field, and it drops. Let's go. There we go. Connor Joe going 2 for 2. There we go. And again, we would rather have normally Luke Raley instead of Connor Joe, but nice job by Connor Joe going 2 for 2 in his limited at-bats. I see you. And now we need JP Crawford to do something that he normally doesn't do. One of these. Big home run to win this game 3-2, or at least get a single or double to keep this inning going. First pitch is low and away, 1-0 count. So then I would assume it would be Ref Snyder up next, and then Cole Young. If we can get to Cole Young, he might be the guy that could be the hero and win this game for us. 1-0 pitch, high and away, and JP is looking for a walk here. 2 balls and no strikes to JP Crawford. Come on, baby. We can win this game 3-2 right here. Maybe even 4-2 if we can get to Cole Young. 2-0 pitch. And JP Crawford, yes! It gets past the shortstop. Go, baby, go! And we got runners at first and second. Let's go! Huge play by JP Crawford, just getting a single past the infield. And now we have runners at first and second, which would have been Dominic Canzone, but I assume this will be Rob Ref Snyder. And then let's see if Rob can keep the rally going, and then Cole Young. If we can get to Cole, like I mentioned, this could be the guy that helps us win. Here we go. Great heart. Even though we had a few people here in the room, thinking that we're not mentally tough and that we can't get the job done like Coach Mullen. But hey, to be able to find a way to get a couple hits here late, more times than not, is Connor Joe and JP Crawford going to get back-to-back hits? No, but we're a little bit more mentally tough than people think. We're pretty good in the 8th and the 9th inning, even when shit goes against us. So, you can never give up on this team, no matter, how bad it goes. .0 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes to Rob Ref Snyder. Take the walk, if it's there. Don't be feeling like you have to be the hero here. Dominguez on the mound having a meltdown like Bizzardo, but again, we need to complete the meltdown. 2-0 pitch. And inside, 3 balls, no strikes to Rob Ref Snyder. I like this. Don't fucking swing. Just take the fucking walk, even if you have to wait a couple pitches, and let's have Cole Young win this fucking game for us. Let's go. And then after Cole Young, it would be Brendan Donovan, and then Julio, and then Naylor. Let's go. 3-0 pitch. Whoa! Almost hit him. And Ref Snyder with a walk. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. And again, when you got guys like Connor Joe, JP Crawford, and Rob Ref Snyder, let's be honest, more times than not, they're not going to succeed. But again, if you have patience and you get a meltdown by the other pitcher, thankfully, it wasn't just Bizzardo today. And now we have a great opportunity for Cole Young to win the game for us. Let's fucking go. Bases loaded, top of the 9th, after Bizzardo gave up 2 runs, after we had a 1-0 lead. Logan Gilbert with his best start of the year, fucking 9 Ks. We have to win the game for Logan here today. We play the Astros next, and then we got the Padres. It's not going to be easy. Let's fucking go, Cole Young. Best case scenario, grand salami, we win this game, right? But even an RBI single or an RBI double to give us the 3-2 lead could be big. Let's fucking go. And they got Rivas at first running for Ref Snyder. Nice heart here by the Mariners. First pitch inside, 1-0 count. Here we go. And again, we might not even have to swing to tie this game up. Cole could end up being patient and taking the walk, and we get that cheap runner to come home from third to home. He hasn't hit the strike zone in a minute here. 1-0 pitch, and Cole pops it up. It's shallow center field, though. Runner is not going to be able to advance, and that is 2 away. Oh, gosh, I wish Cole would have worked the count a little bit more instead of swinging there. I don't think that he would have been able to get 3 strikes on Cole, and that was a little bit of a mini mistake there by Young. I think if he just would have been patient, eventually that could have brought home that runner, or maybe a better pitch on pitch 4, 5, or 6. And next up is Brendan Donovan. Let's see if Donnie can be the hero. On deck is Julio. Come on, Donnie. Find a way. Julio on deck, and then Naylor. Let's see if Donnie can be the hero. Come on, Donovan. Be patient. First pitch right down the middle for a strike, which is rare for Dominguez in this 9th inning. And again, having a similar meltdown with Bizzardo, but again, can we cash in? Bases loaded, 2 outs. Down by a run. Dominguez on the mound, Donovan in the box. 0-1 pitch. Fuck, big swing and a miss. Big rip there by Donnie. No balls and 2 strikes from Dominguez to Donovan, and now we're 1 strike away. Come on, Donnie. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Come on, Donnie. Got to get to Julio next. 0-2 pitch, low into the dirt. Good patience there by Donovan. Splitter, 87 miles an hour there by Dominguez. 1 ball and 2 strikes with bases loaded and 2 outs. Great heart by the Mariners, not giving up and getting some clutch hits here late. And getting on base as well by Connor Joe, J.P. Crawford, and Rob Refsnyder. You know, usually those 3 guys aren't really the guys you expect to get on base. 1-2 pitch to Donnie. Little dribbler towards first. And that is ball game. Fuck. Just couldn't get another hit to end up winning the game. And Eduard Bizzardo loses the game for us. And again, hopefully that won't be something that continues to happen. You know, Logan Gilbert with 9 Ks wasn't enough. And again, tough loss, you know, here on Mother's Day. And again, it's going to be the Astros up next. And then we have the Padres. So, you know, again, it just stinks, you know, when you end up having a great performance from your starting pitcher finally, and then the bullpen ends up blowing it. Let's go over the stats by both teams. Sam Antonacci, 0 for 3. Munetaka Murakami, 1 for 3. Miguel Vargas, 1 for 3 with an RBI. Colson Montgomery, 0 for 4. Chase Mydroth ended up going 1 for 3. Jared Kelenic, 0 for 2. Tristan Peters, 0 for 3. Rando Grichuk, 1 for 3. And Drew Romo, 1 for 3. And let's go with the Mariners. And this one hurts. Brandon Donovan, 0 for 5. Can't win the game when you go 0 for 5, my guy. You know, and again, hasn't been as bad as Cal Raleigh, but pretty close. You know, you need to get going. Batting second, 1 for 4, Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, Josh Naylor, 2 for 3. Cal Raleigh, another 0 for 3, 0 for 4, 0 for 5 game today, 0 for 3. Not good. Randy Arosarino, 1 for 3. Luke Raley with only 2 at-bats before they replaced him for Connor Joe. He goes 0 for 2, but Connor Joe did go 2 for 2, so we didn't lose this game because of Connor Joe. That's for damn sure. J.P. Crawford, 1 for 4. Dominic Canzone going 0 for 2 before getting substituted for Rob Refsnyder, who went 0 for 1. And Cole Young, 0 for 4. You know, when we're going to win a game late, we need you not to go 0 for 4. You can't have, you know, him and Donnie go 0 for 9 and think that we're going to win. You know, and that's not something that Young will do often. You know, once in a while we'll go 0 for 4, but definitely needed someone to come up with a big win. Hudson gets the win, and Eduard Bizzardo is the reason we lost this game. And, you know, it shows you how important, you know, Matt Brash and Gabe Spire are, you know, and hopefully we can call up Cade Anderson sooner than later. The bullpen is a liability. Mooney is a liability. Castillo is a liability. Ferrer is a liability. And, you know, this one stinks because I feel like we should have won this game on Mother's Day. And again, I know, you know, scoring 1 run usually isn't enough, but, you know, this one stings. But again, we're going to be playing the Astros next, and I know we can win against them. And then we got the Padres after that, and that will be really tough. You know, we might only win 1 game at that point. So we'll see how it goes, and, you know, hopefully things will get a little bit better. Final score, White Sox 2, Mariners 1. Hope everyone has a good Mother's Day, and I'm not going to, hang on this for too long. Things will get better when we play the Astros and their bad pitching. But again, it definitely does sting. But I'm going to go and take my pup on a walk and eat a good lunch and get ready for the Astros series starting tomorrow. Final score, White Sox 2, Mariners 1. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I am out. Tridents up and go M's.